Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. Welcome back to the Chelsea Transfer Watch Show. Today we're going to talk about the youth. Yes, the Chelsea fans have been calling for the club or for the manager to give the youth a chance. We have quite a few of them who are well talented. I mean, it sounds easy to call for the manager to give them a chance, but the truth is it's not easy. And the question we want to answer today, how do we make a way for the youth? Because the truth is, before we bring in players, some players have to go out. We already have a bloated squad. And that, as much as it sounds as if it has an easy answer, it doesn't have an easy answer. So we are going to try to answer that question today. And hopefully we have some people join me on the panel so we can try and come to a sensible conclusion or maybe offer a sensible answer to that question, how to make way for the youth. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Yes, people, welcome back to the Transfer Show on a Chelsea perspective. Like I've explained, today we're going to talk about the youth, the opportunity they have at the club, and how the manager or the club will make a space to accommodate them. Because the truth is, as much as it sounds easy to say, keep player A, keep youth A, youth B, youth C, it's not that easy. We have a bloated squad already, and before the club can accommodate more players, whether youth, whether signing players from other clubs, they have to make space by either letting some players, selling some players, or even some will leave. Some are leaving, will leave on a free already. For instance, Danny Drinkwater will live on a free. But how do you make space to accommodate the likes of Billy Gilmour? That is, if there's a chance he stays. The likes of Conor Gallagher, and also Ethan Ampadu, and of course Levi Colwill. So we'll take some time to talk about them today, their abilities, and to even to try to come to the conclusions whether they are good enough for the club. We will start with the first person here is Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour, he is right now. He's 21. He's still young, and again, I can't believe he's just 21 because we talk about him like he's in his 30s, and he's not really doing well. People, we Chelsea fans were so spoiled and so blessed with talents, that over the years that we just want players, to hit the ground running, whether they are 15, 13, it doesn't matter. Ethan Ampadu is actually just 21 years old, and his one against again, he's right-footed. His contract expires in June 30th, 2023. That's the part of his Billy Gilmour's story that really, really, I would say, pissed me off. I didn't believe it. How that happened, I just don't know. I think maybe it's, the whole conundrum, involving, you could say, the sanctions on the club and the fact that we're not able to negotiate new contracts, and extend player contracts during that period when we were still on the summer restrictions again. But it is really concerning indeed that the Billy Gilmour has just 1 year left on his contract. To me, that scares the heck out of me, given the talent he is. Again, there's a possibility that he may well leave the club. Why do I say that? The loan move as Norwich City it didn't work well. It did not, it didn't, go as planned. And that was why whoever it was, whether his parents, whether Thomas Tuchel, who suggested he live on loan, I think should take part of the blame. And for him to have accepted to go, I think he should take part of the blame too. Why do I say that? You could say if you followed Billy Gilmore, you'd know that he gained the grounds under Thomas Tuchel. He's done well. He started 2 high-profile games under him. It's very good that under Frank Lampard, I think he won 2 Man of the Match awards, and then on for his country, he's won also around 3 or 2 Man of the Match awards, which shows you how good he is. And it's not really about size. The kid is good, and if you're not told how old he is, you think he's in his late 20s, where in fact he's just 21, and that's how young Billy Gilmore is. I think he's a fine player to me compared with Jorginho, because that's who people usually like to compare him with. I think he's a better player in the sense that he's able to progress the ball better than Jorginho. He's able to deal with the physical aspect of the Premier League better than Jorginho does. But people are quick to judge him, say his nonsense given, again, the outcome of his loan at Norwich City, of which I wouldn't blame him, not for any reason. Again, he's so talented. That's how I define him. And again, just to show you how I feel about him, it's not just, I'm not saying this because really I do love the player. That's no question. But the truth is, he's really good. I'm not just exaggerating, his abilities. He's really good. He's proven that he's the same Billy Gilmore, given his size, how small he is, if you want to see it that way. Smoked Fernandinho of the Liverpool, you could say defensive midfielder, or CM if you prefer. And he went a toe-to-toe with Cristiano Ronaldo for aerial duel, and he won the aerial duel. That's how good he is. He's a kid, but he's got the large heart. He's got the heart of an experienced player. But that's, by the way, let me try and say hello to the only person I have in the chat right now, and he is Chidi Tony Wanne Dalo. Nice to see you here. What is really going on at Chelsea? Again, I wouldn't panic. We've preached that for the past few days. If you remember, we've been on, that is the club, well, we were under restrictions that didn't allow us to put pen to paper. Yes, we were allowed to talk with players. We could talk with them, get agreed terms, but we're not allowed to finalize the process and sign a player. So that's why, you could say we're being a bit slow, but there's no telling whether that's the case, because the fact is the club, they're not stupid. Obviously, again, whether you want to call it a rebuild, or whether you want to call it a transition period, whatever it is, I think it's not by design. We're forced to do so, to rebuild, because we'll have a few players who's left us. You could say it that way, or will be leaving us. Because in the defensive department, Cesar Azpilicueta, Antonio Rudiger has left, and we said our goodbyes to Andreas Christensen the other day, and also there's a chance. What's his name? That's a chance that Marcus Alonso joins the list of players who'd be leaving this transfer window, and also Cesar Azpilicueta may well leave. It's just that he respects the club so much that he's probably waiting to see what happens, whether the club will be able to recruit players and on time, so that things won't get worse. Again, so bringing it back to Billy Gilmore, I must say I'm really not happy that he has just 1 year left on his contract. Why am I concerned about that? Here's the reason, or here's why I'm concerned. Because he has just 1 year left on his contract. I think from a negotiation standpoint, if you prefer, he's a better positioned than the club is. He could say, okay, you'd have to guarantee me a starting place, or I will leave the club. And the club will not force him to stay. If you there force him to stay, he'd run down his contract and leave on a free. So the better option for the club at this point would be to would be to sell him, give him what he is asking, which is more game time, or sell him and add a buyback clause to his contract. Again, it is never going to be that simple. If you can still hear me, apologies. I don't know why. A lot of installations on my system. It just went black, but I still do hope you can see me. I'm going to try and join with my iPad. Maybe that will save the situation, and let me see what the system does, and I'll go back to it again. It looks like it is still there. It's still working, but I just cannot see my screen. That's how bad the solar installations have been. Okay, I'm back again, but let me know if you can still hear me. That will be fine. I think it looks good now. If not, I will join with my iPad. Here it says people are signing, but we're not. There's no way to say that we're not signing. With Chelsea Football Club, and usually under Roman Abramovich, if you remember, in most cases, the club do their business under the radar, which means you don't know what's going on until you see a player holding a shirt, and Marina releasing a statement and the club releasing a statement and producing a new video to welcome the player to the club. And I think it may be that tradition carried through to the new reign or era, if you prefer, the Todd Boehly era. And I think the club ain't stupid. And if you've watched Peter Cech's interview, he said that we will be busy. And again, he just don't want to let you know, say, okay, we are busy already. But the truth is, he said that we're going to be busy in the market for obvious reasons. Yes, we need to sign at least 2-3 defenders, to solve the problem we have there, because that's obviously that's the priority, or that would be the club's priority. So it's not like because you don't know, that doesn't mean Chelsea aren't doing anything. The truth is, again, the case of Jules Koundé and Ousmane Dembele, they're very unique in the sense that we're able to come to the conclusions that they're coming to us given the factors or circumstances surrounding our pursuit of that player. For instance, the case of Ousmane Dembele, we understand it's no secret that he will be leaving Barcelona at the end of the season, and also it's no secret that Barcelona, and they're no longer able to afford his salary, and it's no secret that he's rejected. That is, if that's the truth, rejected PSG, or PSG had given up on him, and not sure which is it. And it's no secret how well he did under Thomas Tuchel at Borussia Dortmund. So again, given that he's not been able to replicate his form under Thomas Tuchel since he left Borussia Dortmund, that's a chance, given that it's a World Cup year. He may well want to, he might have decided to come and play under Thomas Tuchel again, to see if it rediscovered that form. And that's a possibility that happens. And again, they say there are all the issues, all the concerns I have over him, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm just trying to explain why it is clear. You can put 2 and 2 together and recognize, yes, he's coming to us. The other reason is this, again, in this case, I think that's just that for Ousmane Dembele. And the case of Jules Koundé, his case is this: we're easy, to put 2 and 2 together and say he's coming to us. First of all, we had an agreement in place with him. I think it was January period, or what time exactly, I can't recall. But we thought he was going to come to us. Then before we know what was happening, they moved the goalpost in the sense that they wanted more money than we had agreed with them, because they knew that we had already sold Coachila to West Ham United. So they wanted, to exploit the opportunity and squeeze more money out of us, but we weren't going to allow them to take us for a ride. So that was just what happened. So now here, again, we see Chama Joseph Nedalo Amamnidim Chukwugozikwegi for always finding time to join the chat to support a brother. I sincerely do appreciate that. Again, good afternoon to you too. And it's afternoon here, really. It's 1:16 p.m. for me here. Chidi Tony says we really need to wake up. We're woke already. The fact is, you don't know everything the club, what they're doing, the board are doing, Petr Cech and all that. I think they've been really busy. And believe me, here's where we'll all be shocked. I think we're probably looking at the players that we may end up not signing. That's a chance where we'll sign some players we've looked at and say, we don't think we're going to go for this player, that player, or player A or player B. There's also a chance we sign players who are low-key but are really good at what they do, because I think Todd Boehly, as he said, he's reiterated on several occasions that he's going to work with data. And I believe working with data meaning looking at players, looking at how well they will fit into the manager's style of play, looking at what their abilities, or their overall profile, to see for sure that they're going to work if they come to us. For that alone, that's a chance we will sign players we don't that are not that popular actually, but will be able to get the job done for us. But the truth is that will be my key signing, as Todd Boehly himself has promised. And again, I don't see that anywhere coming from him right straight from the horse's mouth. It's just what the media are all speculations, if you ask me. And here, True Blue says, cheat is yourself. People are agreeing. Only English to English window is, yep, that's the truth. So the window is actually half open right now. You could say the European window opens on the 1st of next month. So yeah, UEFA international window not open until the 1st, July 1st. Contracts finish June 30th. So now it makes sense, and thank you for that education there, for educating us on that, True Blue. It makes sense. A contract of players expires on June 30th. Done on July 1st, the European window opens. Then now you can finalize deals with players and get them to put pen to paper and assign them. So it is actually very, very complicated. It's not as simple as it sounds. Yep. Again, let me see. Again, at the same time I'm talking to you guys, I'm trying to share this to get more people to join us so it can be fun for us. And if you're watching, if you haven't, please be sure to keep liking the video, because the more likes we get, the more people would get to join us, and the more people will have to here with us, the more fun it will be. Again, share the video, share the stream on social media platforms where you have presence, whether on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Please, all I ask is just help us reach more people. And I can't thank you enough for all the support that you've shown to this channel. We'll soon hit 3,000 subscribers. We're not reaching that milestone. I think it's not far-fetched. We will get there as soon as possible. Now, let's look at the next player on the list before we start talking about how Thomas Tuchel, should make a space to accommodate them. Again, like I said, it sounds simple, but there's no easy answer to that to that suggestion. Let me just give me a minute here. We'll keep going. The next player we want to talk about here will be Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher, he is at this point, he's 22, is older than Billy Gilmour. He's joined us in really, I'm not sure, 2018. That's surprising. His contract, let me say, expires, I don't think that's correct, in 2025, which means he has just around 3 years left on his contract. So next year now, we'll be talking about 2 years, and his valued at 27 million. And in the case of Conor Gallagher, and also let me say that for Billy Gilmour, there are no shortage of buyers for Billy Gilmour. Really, there are no shortage of suitors, if you want to phrase it that way. There are quite a lot of clubs, looking to sign him. Rangers also, I'm hearing, they want him back. And again, in his own case, I'm not going to go back to that again. Maybe when I have somebody on the panel, we'll talk about that. And then next year now for Conor Gallagher, you'd have just 2 years left on his contract, because right now you can say he has 3 years left on his contract. When we get to 2023, it will be just 2 years. And again, what I was saying before is that these players, they have no shortage of clubs looking to sign them on a permanent. That's why that puts a Chelsea Football Club on a very, very precarious situation, in the sense that, for instance, we've talked about the case of Billy Gilmour. He's in a more strong negotiating angle when dealing with the club. At this point, he has just 1 year. So he's going to ask for more game time. And if the club can give it to him, he leaves, and then don't sell him. He runs down his contract and leave on a free. But I think the club will sell him, and add a buyback clause on the contract. But I hope he stays because he has so much to offer to the club. He's a brilliant player, and it's one that we will regret Should we let him to go? But we're here actually to talk about how the manager can make space to accommodate the youth. Now, in the case of Conor Gallagher, Crystal Palace already, they want to keep him. They want to keep him, and we've heard Vieira talk about him, how much he loves him, and will keep him if he gets the chance. Thomas Tuchel also wants him back, but the question is, how is he going to make the space for him? How is he going to accommodate him and be sure that he'll be satisfied at the end of the season, agreeing, yes, that he's played enough games. Yeah, there's quite a lot of games to play, but will he be enough for a player who's become an English international? And Billy Gilmour himself is an international. So those things complicate the situation for Chelsea. If these players are just, you could say they're all still developing, no doubt. But if they're still if they're not international, if Billy Gilmour doesn't represent his country, or if Conor Gallagher doesn't represent England, the Three Lions, then it would be easier to maybe convince them to just be part of the team, and whatever game time they get, they'd be satisfied with it. But Conor Gallagher is now an English international. So he'd wanted to play more game than you think would be enough, for him to be content and say, okay, that's fine, I take it. Because at Crystal Palace, he started, you could argue, he only did start games when he's being rested or when he's injured. So that makes it even more difficult for you to convince me that he's going to come back. This is Chelsea Football Club. We need a large squad. He must be content with whatever game time he gets. No, it's not that simple, actually. So I'm going to try and catch up with what we have in the chat again, so that we can move on. And hopefully somebody else will find the time to join me on the panel. If not, I'll roll solo. And believe me, we'll be good, and it will still be fun. Again, we have she is saying a true blue is not only English. Liverpool just agreed a deal today, but they're never going to complete the process until the European window is open. I think. Let me know if I'm wrong. Again, Chidi, listen to me. Do I speak Igbo for you to really trust me? I urge you not to panic. I think we're going to be okay. I think the club aren't stupid. They understand the importance of moving, talking with players, getting them to agree, let alone, finalizing the deal. Just let's just phrase it that way. I think we'll be fine. I think that's well at work, hard at work behind the scenes, and that's how Chelsea likes to operate. So we must learn that too. Says Chida Tony, Chelsea should wake up. Well, again, you said that twice. Liverpool people have I said it is no against Buchedi. The new owner, no, he's not. You don't have the right to say that. You don't just say that. It's been how many days? Has this been 2 months? Then they've been the owners of the club. So you just pay attention, just relax, and by the time the transfer window shuts, you'd come back and say, "I told you to relax." Believe me, I think we'll have the best window we've ever had for a while. But because this time we're not just throwing money at the problem, we're trying to solve the problem. If you understand what I mean. Let me see again. I think I need to change the picture to match what I'm talking about. We're talking about Conor Gallagher now, and I still left the picture to be Billy Gilmour. Again, that's by the way. Let me see. There's a mix here. I think my machine restarted. Before I'd be able to use those pictures, I'd have to mix them, move them to the other screen. But that's, by the way, that's not going to stop me from moving on. And if you're in the chat, if you have any question, shoot, and I'll try to answer the question. Anybody under 21, January 22, qualifies for under 21, okay, B list. So Gilmour, Broja, Colwill can be added to squad via the B list. We can still have 25 as long as 8 are English. Yes, the quota is that. So, but the question I'm asking is this: in terms of the first team, how are we going to make a space to really accommodate them so that they get at least, you can say a sizable amount of game time, not start the whole game, but enough that they'd be content to say, yeah, the manager's done a good by them. We don't want a situation where at the end of the season they'd be looking to leave us, because again, I'm going to repeat myself. For instance, the case of Billy Gilmour, I'd argue again, he'd ask for guarantees that he will be starting games. He will start, a sizable, acceptable amount of games before, before he extends his stay at the club. It's that simple, and he's in a very good position given that he has just 1 year left on his contract. And I'd argue, given how poorly his loan move at Norwich City went, Tuchel, I hope I pronounced that correctly this time. I think it'd be difficult for him to, get a chance, to still, get a chance to still, become part of the first team. Why did I say that? It is really simple. Because here's the thing. Even when you stay at the club, and when you stay again, you get to be trained with the team, get to understand how the manager wants the team to play, and you get into you will seamlessly be integrated into the team. But in this case, he's gained ground before he left. He's played a couple of high-profile games for him. So why he chose to leave, I don't know. But like the True Blue argued, I think it was Thomas Tuchel who tried to do a favor for his friend, who was then who was the manager, the Norwich City manager then. Again, I just don't know why that happened. It just doesn't make any sort of sense that even after how well he's done, started a few games and then did quite well, and we let him, Thomas Tuchel let him leave alone. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Again, with that, again, I'm going to try to go back to the chat again while I'm trying to fix the images I'm using. So for some reason, it's not really working. I don't know what happened to my screen, but I think I found a solution. I'm going to fix it anyway. I'm going to share on another screen and not that particular screen that's giving me issues. Here says Dan Tom says, what is everyone thoughts on Gilmor replacing J5? Is he not defensively sound enough? Why is everyone against this notion? I wouldn't say everyone is again. Why is everyone against it? I don't think everyone is against this notion. I think a lot of Chelsea fans do know how good Billy Gilmour is. It's as simple as that. And again, you could argue he's after. I know we signed him from Rangers, but he's so talented, and believe me, he can actually execute that role better than Jorginho. And this is no exaggeration. Why do I say that? He progresses the ball better than Jorginho does. He's more physical. He's more physical than Jorginho is. And his Jorginho, yes, have a quick vision, but Billy Gilmour, even his vision isn't quick thinking than Jorginho is. So Billy Gilmour, in his own right, you could argue, is a mashup of a regista and a defensive midfielder, which means he's able to fulfill the Jorginho role and also fulfill the role of a defensive midfielder. But that's by the way. Now, I'm going to talk about Conor Gallagher now. I've tried to ask the question. I think nobody seems certain how Tuchel is going to use him. But I'm really concerned that Sir Chance Tuchel would want to play him, deploy him as one of the 2-6-6. And to me, that's a huge problem. Why do I say that? Because being a number 6 is not just the ability, to pass around the ball. You should be able to read the game, anticipate opposition moves on most occasions, and break up plays. It's like that. And I'm going to use an example. He's tried to play Ruben Loftus-Cheek as one of the 2-6s on occasions, and I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he's won any of those games that Ruben Loftus-Cheek plays as one of the 2-6s. Even if we haven't won convincingly. Why is that? Because when you play with 3 at the back, you need 6s who are able to read the game. Because the way Thomas Tuchel, his application of the 3 at the back system, the wingers, their primary responsibility is to attack. Yes, sometimes they're also, tasked with defending, but primarily they stay off upward. So then you have bigger problems for the three defenders behind. So it becomes important for the 2-6s to be able to read the games, know when to make that, and then be able to break up plays and not let the oppositions get us on a counter or no. But again, whenever Ruben Loftus-Cheek is playing in that position, the way he glides through the midfield, the way he passes the midfield, his link-up play are usually so good. Yeah, I would even use the word delicious to watch. But the truth is, we lack defensively whenever he plays in that position because he can't read the game. So that's why I'm thinking, I'm really concerned if Thomas Tuchel is going to try playing Conor Gallagher as number 6. I think it will be a waste of his talent. The closer he is to the final third, the more he'd get into the box. We know he's good at that, and the more he'd get his goals. And also, he's quite good at pressing. And I think he actually, I wouldn't start. I don't want to start try. I don't want to try compare him with Mason Mount. But the truth is, in terms of pressing, he's really, really good at pressing. And with that, I'm going to try to catch up with the chat to see what we have there. Again, I've read this, and again, I think not most people. I think most people understand how good the kid is. And again, it's just the Norwich City alone doesn't help his case in any way. Again, that is the reason why we always end up signing people like a Lukaku. Again, I don't know how to respond to that argument again. We are always good in making a panic buys. I don't think this time with the buys are going to be panic. Tribune says Chalobah, Gallagher, Moncho, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Ampadu, Chilwell, and James are the 8. Yep. Again, Chalobah, I says are the 8. When you say are the 8 that fall under the quota of homegrown? Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what you're talking about because you said something previously that sounds like that's what you're talking about. Again, unless my brother, hi, 72 Fat. Again, nice to see you here. And again, please, if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second to like the video because the more you like the video, the more people would reach. Right now, we have just 16 likes, but we have 56 people watching. I believe we can actually do better than that. So please keep liking the video to help us reach more people. And more people we have, the more fun it will be here. Triply says that Chidi, they have agreed a deal signings cannot be concluded until July 1st. Again, yes, so that makes it, Chidi, I hope that explains everything. So calm down, Jido Bigaka. Listen, even if you agree terms with players, you cannot wrap up the signing, you cannot complete the process until July 1st. It's as simple as that. So there's no way to tell whether we signed anybody or not until we get to that period when we're allowed to announce players, because most players are still under contract with their former club. We can bench Gilmour, Broja, Gallagher, Colwill. Tell me why we should bench them. Tell me why you should bench Gallagher too. Again, if you're saying that, you have to back up your argument. The B list under 21 is part of the full squad. But my question remains now, yes, we accommodate them as the B list. My main question, if you don't understand what I was asking, is how do we accommodate them in the first team? In the first team, what can we do to afford them, enough game time to say, okay, I'm content with this? Because like I've mentioned before, Conor Gallagher is an English international. Billy Gilmour is also an international. So again, he plays for Scotland. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the Scottish international. Now, these players are not going to become content with being part player. Conor Gallagher has got an England colour for the third time now, or maybe even more. Correct me if I'm wrong. So why would they be content with just sitting on the bench and playing just, let's say, 15 games per season? He'd lose his place in the England squad. And again, it's a World Cup year. I get the argument from Bobby, like he mentioned in the morning. We are Chelsea, yes. We need a big squad. That's the truth. But then again, we have to look at things, objectively and see, okay, what are the likelihood of this player being happy with such amount of, with such so and so amount of games And what are the likelihood of him asking to leave or to go out on loan again? That's the question we need to ask. But that's, by the way, but the question is, how do we make space to accommodate them, give them enough game time that they'd be content with that? I'm not saying they should start all games. No, there's no chance. We have quite a lot of games to play, so rotation will be key to ensuring no player burns out, if you get my argument. Again, I said we should agree to, again, selling Timo, Ziyech, Lukaku, Barkley, Saul is gone, space is available. Here's the thing, yes, we've been hearing rumors that the club, I think specifically from what I read, they said Thomas Tuchel is willing to listen to offers, for Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, I think, and also who else? I've forgotten. Timo Werner, I think, with one more player. I don't remember the player exactly. But the truth is, it is actually not that simple. Right now, let's look at the situation at the club. We're losing about 4 defenders. If Emerson leaves, it will actually be around 5 defenders. And we need to prioritize, we need to, first of all, fix that. Even if they're looking at other areas, like the midfield and the attacking area simultaneously, no problem. But the priority, clearly, for obvious reasons, will be to sign defensive players. Now, the club will be cautious, to cautious in the sense that they will first try to fix the defensive issues. Then, if they still have time enough to look at the midfield area and the attacking area, then they do so. That's a chance they say, okay, we fixed the defense. I think we can make do with what we have, bring back players who's coming back on loan, and just do with them and move from there. That's a chance that happens. There's a chance also they're capable of, signing players, for the defense, for the midfield and for the attack. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm trying at the same time to share the stream so that more people can join us. I'm going to try to share it more, and then I'll come back again and let's talk about the next player we have on the list. Just 1 second, please. I will be back with you. And again, I've shared the link with a few people in case they have time to join us. And if you have any question, if you're in the chat, shoot, I will try to answer the question. Now, here's 72 Facts says, Sal Jorginho and Ruben also, and bring a few face like Rice, Dembele, Nkunku, Koulibaly, Koundé. Again, it sounds easy. These deals are not easy. If you look at them one by one, the Dembele's isn't actually, believe me, will not be as straightforward as we all think it will be. That of Koulibaly will again, Nkunku, we haven't even, reached out to the club. If we had, we'd be hearing about it right now. Again, Koulibaly's case, we're talking about De Laurentiis, I think that's his name, the Napoli owner. Even though Koulibaly has just 1 year left on his contract, De Laurentiis is one of the most difficult club owners to deal with. I don't think he'd let Koulibaly leave on the cheap, even though he has just a year left on his contract, except if it becomes clear to him that he may well lose him on a free. That's when I see him saying, okay, let's do business. But even at that, I don't think he'd come to us as cheap as we thought. Koundé's case, I think it's a matter of when the European window opens, I think he joins us. He likes us. He really want to come to us. That's why I like him. 4-3-3 is best. We have good attack. Here's the thing. We have players that are capable of helping us be one of the best team in the Premier League. But since the manager doesn't want to approach the game that way, I think the best thing will be we must not be selfish. We have to let those players go. Under Thomas Tuchel, we've been playing wingers as number 8s. And with that, you could argue they've not been at their best. And again, I don't know if you get my point. So I don't think it makes sense to play 4-3-3 while we have wingers who traditionally like to stay out on the flanks So when you play them in that number 8 position or number 10, depending on the application, naturally they drift wide open. They don't execute those roles quite well, and we blame them quite a lot, not looking at how the manager has chosen to approach the game. We cannot sell our players. It's as simple as that. Dalo, thank you for putting it like that. We just cannot sell our players in one window, and we cannot actually buy too many in one window. It will disrupt the team. It's as simple as that. This is such a delicious comment. Some people are calling buy this player, buy player, A, B, C. They're like 10 up to 10, 11 players. It will disrupt the team. And some people, even as they're calling for us to sign that many players, they expect us to win the league come the coming season. It's not going to, even a few changes at the back, it's quite a lot of problem to deal with. Quite lots of problems. That is, it creates lots of problems because, again, here's something I said during the money show. We have a serious problem at hand, but most people don't know it. The defensive department of every team. Yes, you've heard people say, use that as building a team is like completing a puzzle, and yes, it is. And that's especially true when you're talking about the defensive area, and we're losing about 4 players there. And may well be 5 if Emerson decides to leave. Now, you can't just, bring left center back, right center back, and then the central one to lead the back line. It doesn't work like that. You need a mix. You need a mix of aggression, cool-headedness, and also you need pace. Cool-headedness in terms of, for instance, a prime example of that is Thiago Silva. He's nearly 1 million years old, but he's still able to lead the back line. Why? Because of his intelligence, his ability to read the game. He doesn't even need to speak to lead. He doesn't even need to speak to lead. And some people are suggesting Koulibaly can execute that role. He can, but will he be able to execute it as perfectly as Thiago Silva does? I'd say no. But then again, let's come back to my point. My point is you need a mixture of a calm presence in the defensive line. We have Thiago Silva. You need aggression. We had Rudiger. You need pace on the right-hand side. We have Chalobah or sometimes Reece James who gets to play there. And on the left-hand side, we had Antonio Rudiger who brings pace also, plus aggression. So you need that mix. That's what, those 3 elements, if you want to phrase it like that, are the things that made our defense very special. Now, look at a contrasting example here. Manchester United, they have 3 defenders that usually starts games for them. They have Lindelof. They have what's a French international that they signed from Real Madrid, and also they have Harry Maguire. The 3 of them, what they are just ball-playing defenders. Maguire sometimes tries to show that he can be aggressive, but you look at it, he nearly kills people whenever he tries to add aggression to his game. It's not who he is. He's always been a soft player. So my argument is that it just shows you the importance of having a balanced backline. And that's why it's important, when people say sell player A, B, C, D. No, it's not going to be easy because we have a difficult task, which is, recreating our defensive line. And it's not going to be easy. It takes some thinking. It takes quite a lot of calculation, making sure you're bringing that's the right mix of players. If I've made my point clear. Ibrahim Ogunsanya, clearly, yep. He says, hi, bro, from Nigeria. Sure. Ekale, my brother, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Your name alone says where you're from, except, there are some people from Benin that do go with by Yoruba names. Hi, bro, from Nigeria. What are we doing about signing Kunde? Again, I think I've addressed this question before severally. Kunde, I think you could argue all that needs to happen is, because the transfer window is half open in the sense the domestic window is open now, which it opened yesterday, but the European window opens on the 1st of next month. That's when, again, we'd be able to round off. You say, okay, we get him to put pen to paper. You see pictures. You see him holding the shirt. I'm hopeful I'm just going to phrase it that way. Just going to say I'm hopeful that happens because he really wants to come to us, and he's come to London. And I didn't think he'd come to London to relax or to play. He probably, had a meeting with the board, Peter Cech, or maybe Thomas Tuchel, but he really does want to come to us. So, but again, what my point, I have to be clear here. That's no certain that you cannot be certain that he's coming to us until you see him hold the shirt, take a picture, or the club puts out a statement, then it's done. Because we've seen instances where player, even for instance, John Michael Obi took pictures with Sir Alex Ferguson. What's his name? Willian. Was on the verge of undergoing medical or had already undergone medical at Tottenham, but ended up becoming a Chelsea player. So, I think you could say 90% are done. But let's just the window be fully open, and we'll take it from there. Again, I hope that answers your question. Says we can sell, bro. We have a good players on the academy. Yeah, we do have. We have one of the best academies in the whole world. And the examples I've used, Chelsea Academy is like the best school in a community, and every all the people in the community are well aware of the quality of the school and the graduate they produce. So these days, as people are graduating from the Chelsea Academy, some of them even before graduating, without us knowing, I suspect they start talking to other clubs. They're that good. But I think this time I'm hopeful the likes of Conor Gallagher, will be integrated into the team and get good enough game time to be, contempt. Scotland, yeah, I know they're not qualified, but they still play games. And again, he'd like to be part of whatever, whenever there's an international side, the Scottish international team is playing, he'd like to be part of it. But I know you'd agree with me, True Blue, that he's strong, that he's in a very strong position when it comes to negotiating with the club, given that he has just 1 year left on his contract. Again, he says 5 subs a game, 10 on the bench, more involved on match day, changing to 4-3-3 allows Gallagher and Mount to play. I hope so. And the question I want to ask, I think I will try to put out. I will try to put out a poll to ask you guys a question. The position you think Conor Gallagher fits in very well. So we'll take it from there. Triply, yes, homegrown quota must be 8. Our foreign player quota is reduced by 1 for each homegrown less. Again, with that, I want to ask you, if you haven't, please take a second to like the video. It doesn't cost anything. It will take you just a second. Like the video and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Conor Gallagher, like Billy and Colwill, wouldn't be going to World Cup. You think, and you don't think he'd be, you don't think he'd be confident enough to say he'd do well enough to be called, added to the list. I think he's confident enough to think so. You don't know. There's no way saying Conor won't be going. You let me know why you think for certain he won't be going, and I'd like to know. Try to swap player plus. That's actually another complicated way to sign players. It's never that simple. It's really not easy because there's a chance the club you want to get the player from, they feel like the player that they want to give you is better than the player you want to give them. So one of the parties will be asking for money plus cash, and then that complicates the whole thing. So it's never that simple. Again, we have 82 people watching, and let me see how many likes we'll have right now. I just want to look at it. Again, my screen froze again. I just don't know what I'm going to do here. I think we have how many likes now? We have just 30 likes. So please, if you haven't, keep liking the video, people. Just keep liking the video. The more the likes, the better. The more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and more people will be, the stream will be pushed for more people to join us and have some fun here with us. But Tonelli makes homegrown. Oh, I didn't know that. So he's homegrown too. I didn't know that. Again, Tribly says, okay, I've read this. Says Nkunku for Timo Werner. We've talked about Nkunku for Timo Werner. Again, given I think Leipzig knows quite well that he will end up leaving them. Again, but we argued about the possibility of offering Leipzig, Timo Werner to Leipzig, given that he's played there. And when that's the last club he played for, he joined Chelsea, and he did quite well for them. He was one of their best players. But here's the thing: Timo Werner, if you ask me, would rather go to Bayern Munich, where you have Julian Nagelsmann, who was his coach then at Leipzig, and who's come out and said openly that Chelsea don't know how to use Timo Werner. So there's a chance he might want to go back to Germany, but to play under Julian Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich, clearly is a bigger club than Leipzig, and he gets a chance to win trophies at Bayern Munich than the possibilities he'd have if he goes back to Leipzig. So the question remains: do we have anybody at Bayern that would ask them for? Again, we've looked at it all through. I don't think some Chelsea fans don't want Gnabry, others don't want Leroy Sané. Some people say they want what's his name, Robert Lewandowski, but Lewandowski is bent on joining Barcelona, even knowing that they have serious financial situation there. He says he'd wait for them and all that. He doesn't want to come to England. He wants to go to Barcelona. Again, and the question I've asked, how are they, even though they're broke, how are they able to convince these players to come join them? Ziyech for Koulibaly plus cash. Again, here's one thing you want to ask. I think if there's anything I've learned recently is how about what does the player want? When you want to do a swap deal, you can't force a player to go to a club he doesn't want to. It's as simple as that. Had that been possible, correct me if I'm wrong, I know probably True Blue will be well acquainted with this. Had that been possible, we'd have Koundé at that club right now, because Kotzuma would agree, would just join Sevilla, and we give them some cash, and boom, or take Jules Koundé, and we're done with it. But he refused. He didn't want to go there. So I think the player exchanging isn't really that simple. Even if Napoli would say, okay, we want Ziyech. The question is, would Ziyech want to go to Napoli? I don't know. I'm not Hakim Ziyech, so I'm not able to answer that question. Says Rice for Barkley. Ruben, Rice, even if Rice is coming, he's not coming for Barkley. Barkley is a number 8. Rice is placing as a 6 or as a center back. He's capable of playing in multiple positions. So again, are you suggesting giving them Barkley? Ruben plus cash, is that what you're saying? I'm not sure what you're suggesting there. Again, we'll see what happens. Ibrahim Ogunsanya says our defense is the most important. Oh, the worst kept secret, actually. Do we even need to talk about it? No, it'd be stupid for the club not to recognize that should be their priority. Please, pardon me. I need to take a sip of my water here before I lose my voice. Yeah, thank you very much. Again, while you're watching, please keep liking the video. Let's try and get to 100 likes before the end of the show. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. We're shooting for 3,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and I know we can get there. And we actually gained a few subscribers today, so thank you very much. I sincerely do appreciate that. Again, yes, our defense, for obvious reasons, should be the club's priority, and I believe it is. Again, Songs is laughing. It doesn't have to do with what I said or what. You let me know. I don't believe Dembele will make a difference. Sterling is much better. Who you mean? Sterling is much better. I hope we get a Koulibaly. I think that Dembele will make a whole lot of difference. I know True Blue thinks otherwise. By the way, Chinedu Dalo, and welcome to the channel. And please, if you haven't, be sure to like the video. Keep liking the video. The more you like the video, the more people would reach, and the more fun it would be if we have more people joining us. So let's shoot for 100 likes by the end of the show. Now, says Dembele will make a huge difference. Again, like I said, True Blue thinks otherwise. Dembele never shies away from taking on players. True Blue, I think, who was it again that argued, presented a counter argument saying he's able to, weave his way through the fence, like I've talked during the show, because there's quite a lot of space. No, I don't think that's the case. If you followed him, he'd have 4-2 he'd have 2-3 players on him. He'd still find a way past them. He hardly passes backwards or goes sideways. He's always focused on beating his marker and then putting the cross into the box for his, for his teammates to score. And again, he can play in the number 8 positions quite well. And one thing again is that he's, good with both feet. That's how good he is. I think Dembele will make a huge difference. There are other issues, though. I don't want to talk about that right now, that I'm concerned about, really. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Again, says Chinedu says, what is the update on Koulibaly? The only thing I'm hearing is that we made him an offer of 10 million, around 10 million pounds a year, which amounts to, let me see if I can do that calculation quickly. Just give me a second. Just 1 second. Let me see how quickly I can get that down for you guys. Sorry. Which amounts to around, you could say around 200,000 pounds a week. So I'm going to do 10 million divided by 52 weeks. I think that's what it is. Divided by 50. So yeah, nearly 200,000 pounds a week. I think that's not a bad deal. And I think he earns much less at Napoli. That's a good deal. Except if Barcelona, who I don't think would counter offer because they don't have money. They're broke, if you want to phrase it that way. They're broke almost. They're even renting out the arena to make money and asking players to take a pay cut. Again, please, I'm asking you, if you haven't, please be sure, keep liking the video to help us, reach more people, because the more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the more we get more people to join us, and the more fun it will be, actually. So please keep liking the video to help us reach more people. I sincerely do appreciate that. Again, it says, the Undertaker CFC, it's been a minute, brother. How are you doing? I hope everything is, and I hope things are good on your end. Big up, what a player Dumfries is. We need to get him. Is he really that good? Do you like him that much? And why are we getting? Okay, do you mean for competition for Reece James? I think he's good, but I think James will always bench him, if you ask me. James is more, I don't know, I wouldn't say James is more physical. I think James is, you could argue, is more productive, if you ask me. And how well has he done at Inter? The Undertaker, can you tell me if you think he provide good competition for Reece James? I think I want good competition for Reece James. I don't want a backup. I think we've argued that a million times here. The reason, I think, if we've been following how things have gone, how things went, downhill for us this past season. Yes, we had COVID situations. We had players out injured again, but specifically when you talk about injury, when Reece James and Ben Chilwell got injured, we realized we didn't have capable, replacement for them. We had Marcus Alonso. You could argue isn't as good as Ben Chilwell. We had Cesar Azpilicueta. As much as I respect him, and he's been a great servant of the club, a great professional. In fact, an exemplary professional. He wasn't good enough he didn't do well as much as Reece James would have done had he been available. So that highlights the importance of Chelsea going at least for two starting players, at least for two starting players for every position to compete with each other, and whoever is in better form gets to start. When that person gets injured, the other person comes in, and you can be rest assured they do a good enough job, or even better. But we've always, I think that culture of having backups and starters, I think it didn't start now. I think it started, you could argue, from under Mauricio Sarri, or even further back. We had, we've always had backup starters, and that culture, you had, we learned quite a lot from it of this past season, because that's, you could argue, was one of the reasons why we couldn't stay at the top. We even struggled to stay, in the top four, to secure top four position. So it is important that we go for at least two players for each position, two players that are, will compete with each other and the man who's in better form gets to start. It's as simple as that. That way, if one player, the other gets injured, the other one comes in and does a good enough job. J-Boy says, my name is Shegun Olaniyi. It's another brother from Niger. Yes, nice to see you here, brother. And I am saying that J5 should go out of Chelsea this season. Kante and Kova plus Mount, Gallagher should be good enough. Enough of in the midfield. Again, you still need, given the way Thomas Tuchel needs to play, you still need a player who's capable of fulfilling the register role. Because say what you like about Jorginho, yes, he's susceptible to mistakes when pressed aggressively. That's for sure. But he on his day, you understand his importance to the way Thomas Tuchel likes to play the game. Like Mikhail, highlighted yesterday, Thomas Tuchel likes being, that is his own way, his way of being defensive is keeping the ball, which isn't a bad thing. And without a proper register, that is usually very hard to achieve. So Jorginho is a specialist in controlling the tempo of game and helping the team keep the ball. But I think Billy Gilmour can do it and do it even better. And I think there are other players out there who are also capable of fulfilling that role and fulfilling it even better. So I am with you on that one. And I do respect Jorginho very well. But I'm going to move ahead. Now, I have Newcastle is the club, Chelsea should sell players to. You think because they have the money, so you think that I think already they probably been looking to sign some of our players. I think so. Again, they've been looking. They know we have quite a lot of players, and they know a few of them will be looking to leave. I wouldn't be surprised if they come for the likes of Ziyech and even Timo Werner, and again test the waters maybe for Christian Pulisic. I think they may well try that. But we'll see what happens. Just quickly, I want to share the links with a brother who's asked for it. Tai Taxier says if he can get the links. Yes, of course, brother. You know, I trust you. And I'm going to share the link with you here. So, yeah, again, we don't even need to go to them to say, okay, we have player A, B, C for sale. I think they'd come themselves for those players. Dumfries, Chinedu says no. Again, Dumfries, can you elaborate? Let us know why you said no to Dumfries. I think he's a good player. While I don't think he's the best, I think we can do better than him. But if he's available, I think we should go for him. Maybe, if he joins us, it becomes even better. Chelsea cannot match Manchester City. They're way ahead of us now. We have some work to do to catch up with them. Dennis Wise, that's the name of a Chelsea legend. I was going to ask you, are you a Man City fan? Again, Wanjala Calorie says, again, is Neymar coming? No, Neymar isn't coming to Chelsea. Again, that's my opinion. That's a chance he comes. And why do I think he's not coming to Chelsea? First of all, he's on a very high wage. And again, to PSG, he's more than just a footballer. They make tons of money from sales of merchandise and commercials because he plays for them. And again, he that is adapting to the Premier League will be very difficult. In which declared rightly on the panel here on Chelsea Perspective, argued for him to get things going his way, because I first said I don't think he dives anymore. He said, but if he comes to the Premier League, he'd start diving again just to get things to go his way. Again, like I said, adapts me. And with that, I want to keep asking you, please, people, keep liking the video, because the more you like the video, the more people will reach and the more fun it will be for us if more people join us. And if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. Zewi Maxwell Timothy says, Ampadu played well today versus Belgium. I'm not surprised because he's a good player overall. He's just been quite unlucky with managers not giving him enough time at Chelsea, always thinking he's not ready. But we'll see what happens. I think Chelsea management sucks. Again, Manuel Tambwe, because we have a decent development academy that brings up such young talent, yet we seem to not care. I think we do care to a certain measure. Have Thomas Tuchel done enough in terms of using the youth? I'd say no. And my prime example will be Lewis Hall, who once the day he got the chance to play showed what he's capable of. he showed the Chelsea spirit. How did he show the Chelsea spirit on that day? He lost the ball, didn't give up. He didn't, after losing the ball, he didn't step back and ask someone else to go get it. He went for it, got it back, and with the ball he got back, created a chance. That's the Chelsea spirit I want to see again. But my point is this: I think now I expected to see him even more. But ever since at one point we even stopped seeing him on the bench. What happened? I don't know. And True Blue has rightly asked the question. Certain manager, some people have argued that he's known, to give the youth a chance, but he hasn't really done that at Chelsea. You could argue Chalobah's case was accidental because we failed to sign Koundé. He had to stay. So it wasn't like he really wanted to keep him. If had Koundé arrived, he'd argue that Chalobah would most definitely live on loan again, or he'd probably be sold. But every disappointment, they say, is a blessing. We learned how good he can be, and I think he stays, and I think he gets enough games, that I think he'd be all right with it. Again, I say, so why are we producing amazing talents for other clubs? We can't keep them all. We can't keep them all, and we cannot build a team that is comprised entirely of academy graduates. There's no way. And you cannot argue that they're all good enough. Not all of them. We only want the best of the best. And sometimes these kids themselves, because there are no shortage of clubs, vying for their signature. Sometimes if they see that you're going to send them out on loan twice, 3 times, 4 times, they usually, ask to leave. And if you don't give them the opportunity, sell them or allow them to leave, they run down their contract and leave on a free. So it becomes a risk for the club. So in most cases, the only viable option for the club is usually to sell the player. Tino Livramento is a perfect example. Mark Guehi is a perfect example. They wanted to leave. Yep, the club wanted to, give them opportunity, but they wanted to leave. They wanted to go where they'd be starting games. And, trying to keep them and being selfish, you'd get them, if you force them to stay, they'd run down their contract and leave on a free. So there are so many factors that if you look at them, you see there's not that possibility, no matter how hard you try to keep them more. It just isn't possible. Titus says we cannot keep everyone. Thank you. As if I knew you had that comment there. Lukaku for Dumfries. I'm going to talk about this because this is an interactive show, really. I'm going to talk about this comment here. But then again, I'm going to come back to the panel and start talking about the players we have here. Now, we still owe Inter money. That alone complicates us being able to strike a deal with Inter Milan. Can you try yourself, the Undertaker CFC? Try yourself and tell me how you would discuss that deal. What structure? How you'd structure the deal to benefit Inter and benefit us. Inter wants money. They want money, and giving them Lukaku back doesn't help. With even be paying nearly £200,000 a week of Lukaku's salary for him to be scoring goals for Inter Milan. So I'm just going to move beyond that. Hi, Ty. We cannot keep all of them, but should keep the best. Again, that's a delicious comment there. That's the best way to phrase it. Cronus Dan, my brother, nice to see you back again on the channel. He says, hello, just a perspective. Hello to you too, brother. Always nice to see you here supporting the channel. Without a doubt, we have good young players, but we have to be patient with them if they come in a team. Patience is what Chelsea fans don't have. But here's one thing I can promise you. I think you could argue, under the reign or the ownership of the Todd Boehly and Claire Lake consortium, I think we'll start to see more academy players get integrated into the team. Why do I say that? Because these are businessmen. They're profit focused. Yes, Todd Boehly has, during interviews, clearly stated how he understands that the club, first of all, need to win. And with win comes big name sponsors and all that. It makes sense. But the truth is, they're not going to be throwing, as the Cloud will say, they're not going to be throwing money at problems. They're not going to do that. I think they'll be spending cautiously. They're not going to spend them where they spend and then no returns at all. I don't think that will happen. So, in that regards, I'd argue more academy players who are good enough, by the way, we get the chance to be integrated into the team. So now quickly, the story of Dembele, I honestly don't believe he will make a difference. The past is past. No, he's still a good player. And in recent days, he's actually done quite well for Barcelona. He's had some assists for, what's his name? The former Arsenal player who he also played with at Dortmund. But you know who I'm talking about. Since we needed to get in Dembele, Koundé, and Koulibaly, Skriniar in as sub, then concentrate on other areas. Dan, can you tell me why you want Skriniar? And I think it was me, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong. He does. If you're talking about us getting him to play in the left center back position, this is the same guy who doesn't play, except if he doesn't get to play on the left hand side, except if Bastoni isn't playing, and on the right hand side, he doesn't get to play except if the guy that plays on the right hand side isn't playing. So something isn't definitely right. Do I think there's a chance also if we sign him, he becomes an absolute class for us. So, but the question is, don't you think signing, Skriniar means we'll be signing, a second fiddle player? You let me know. I could be wrong in my research, but let me know. What is the update on Christopher Nkunku? I don't think we've actually spoken with his camp or agent, or I don't think so. Dembele will play same place as Ziyech and Pulisic centrally. No crosses. It is why I dislike the system. Yeah, the system gets wingers to play, the 8 or 10 positions depending on the application, and that doesn't make sense. I just don't know why we're stuck on playing that system when it doesn't, allow the players we have the independence, to express themselves or be at their best. So again, yes, I wasn't the one to usually talk about the system, but I think I'm a convert right now. If you ask me, we need to do something about the system to accommodate the players we have, to get them to start being at their best. We have done we've made quite a lot of mistakes. I keep telling you, it's not about a depth with Barca. They have La Liga cap. If they can get 25 within the cap, it is allowed. If the cap is reached with 22, again, then okay, thank you for that education again. Maybe I haven't, what you're trying to explain to me, I haven't learned it. Tomori and Goehi are the only unique ones from that list. The rest didn't see a chance to make it into the first team and opted to be, starters. And again, with this opportunity, I want to urge you to please, if you haven't, go check out Tide Talk CFC YouTube channel. I would really want to share the link to his channel, but my system is, for some reason, is giving me issues because I have lots and lots of new equipment installed. Maybe I did something wrong. It usually every now and then my screen freezes, but that's not why we're here to talk about. So, but I'll try to share. I'll still try to share Tide Talk's YouTube channel link if I get a chance. Sports Stage American Football and Constant, but Barca never did that before. Again, it's easy to highlight theirs. They stage weddings. Not a competition. They take money to stage weddings there, and if the rumors are true, they've asked players to take a wedge card. But that's, by the way, again, I'm going to try and skip everything here. So we'll talk about the next player we have on the list. And I really do want to ask the those in the chat a question, but I just can't because I'm having an issue with my system. But we can argue that Koundé is also youth. No, it's not an argument. He's still young. And that was why the last game he played, I don't know if I could say, call it the last game if he's played another, because I'm not following the Nations League. He made a mistake too. I think he's just a year older than Chalobah. Again, and we talked about it the day when I asked the question, what really? So I wanted to know what happens to Chalobah when Koundé comes in. I forgot the responses I got, but that's, by the way. This boy has proven on high level. I think he's a good player. I'm going to just skip to the bottom of the whole thing. And I want to say big up to my brother, Tobago. Nice to see you. And Ty, if you're asking, for the link. I think I've sent you that. Nice to see Nick Blue here. Says Blue evening to everybody. Nice to see you all always supporting the channel. That makes me happy. Let me see what my brother has for me in the DM. Again, I will have issues sharing my screen because something isn't right here. Let me see, what did he say? Again, he says, Coach, check do you mean Tobago? Do you mean Twitter DM? I'm checking your Twitter DM. I think you haven't sent me anything new here. Send Koulibaly an offer of 10 million. He is valued at 40 million. I think you shared that with me before. If you shared something new, I haven't seen it. Maybe because I'm trying to check that via my iPad. Something isn't quite right with my screen now. I can't see everything I have on here. Let me see what I can do. Maybe you have an important information that you've shared. I'd like to share it with others too. Let me see. Why? Let me see. Maybe I'll change it here. Okay, something is missing here. Okay, let me try the other one. Just give me a minute. So if my screen works, I'd be able to share the link with people. Again, I don't know what's going on here. Now, let's talk about Ampadu. Again, Ampadu for me, although most people disrespect him, I think that's a better way to phrase him. Phrase it. Most people don't really know what he's capable of doing. I think I don't know how people understand the football. Ampadu is a brilliant player. Ampadu is able to play in the number 6 role. He's able to execute that role quite well. Ampadu is able to play in the center-back position, and I think he's actually able to play on the right-hand side of the 3-at-the-back system and in the middle. He is that good. And if you want to see a perfect example of what Ampadu is capable of doing, I urge you to go watch the Champions League game he played when he was on loan to Germany. Was it at Leipzig? When even though he wasn't playing regularly, but they had a player who plays in that position that got injured. They brought him in, and believe me, he smoked the Tottenham attackers. That's how good this kid is. And I don't know why people underrate him. And I don't know why, actually. I think we shouldn't even look into spend too much money in terms of, getting in players in for the defensive midfield area because we have him. And let me check his profile and see when his contract expires. I'd be surprised if he still have more than 2 years on his contract. But let's see what happens. Let me see. Oh, now I understand what's going on here. So I'm going to try to share the link with people who wants to join the panel now. I think I'll be able to do that with my panel. And I got the link here so that's how people can join the conversation. There you go, Tobago. And I've shared the link with my brother, Ty Tux. Please be sure, again, check again. Be sure I didn't send you the wrong link here. Maybe that may have been the case. It looks like I'm sending people the old link. So I'm going to try again to resend the link. Again, let me see how I can do that to do it correctly. This is the correct link here. Invite guest, copy link. Again, let me go back to Twitter and try to share the link with people who would be interested in joining us here. There you go. I shared with Tobago, with Ty Tux. I'm going to share with you here again. Who else? Again, let me go back to the group and try to share there. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I've shared. Any other person that wants the link, shoot, let me know. I'm going to try to catch up with the chat. Again, what else do I have to address here? We keep hearing criticism of Marina, Rahman, Miazga, Bakayukin, Bashwai, etc. Emmanuel signings. Again, none of them are perfect. Is Marina perfect? No, but I'd argue she's done more good for us than bad. Why do I say that? Her sole responsibility is to negotiate. She isn't the one to point out players we sign. And I think everything she okays, that we don't even know if there are instances where she doesn't want to sign anybody and Romano wants the person and say just pay the money. Then we end up still blaming Marina. I don't think we should be acting like that. We should look at things, and be objective about how we criticize her. To know there's a chance she probably doesn't want to, sign a certain player because of the price she's being quoted, and then the owner says just sign the player. It's that simple. Ty, let me start with you. Your thoughts on Ethan Ampadu. Why is it we don't value him? And we've seen examples of what he's capable of doing when he's on international assignment. And that game against Tottenham when he played in the as a centre back.
I think maybe the one of the reason is that he hasn't really had, whenever he's gone out on loan, barring the season that just ended, that loan spell, he hasn't really been impressive. And maybe that can probably be going back to the fact that the clubs that we loaned him out to probably weren't, well, for one of them didn't play him, and then the other one, when they did play him, he kept scoring own goals, or he was kept always, having poor performances. So I think in a case like that, the club probably may need some more convincing about him. I mean, what he's doing for Wales, it's impressive, and what he did on loan, it really is impressive, and it's something that would be important to see with what happened to him in preseason and everything. But I think the key thing is that if he doesn't do quite well in preseason, or Tuchel doesn't believe that he has performed good enough, he may not be in the squad again. But I think right now he'll be assessed, and then it will be down to how he performs in preseason, and if he does well in preseason. But I think it probably becomes difficult for him as well, especially with the fact that he's gonna be seeing these players come in, the players we're targeting, centre backs,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are young. And I think he's like 20, 21, because I think he's pretty
He's
young still.
21. He's 21, and people do forget that easily. They expect him to be Thiago Silva. They forgot. I think it's easy to
And
forget how young
as you
these
said
players
that
are.
too, I think isn't he above playing defender like Silva is? I'm pretty sure he's above
He's
playing
good on
defender.
the
I mean, he's a
ball.
DM.
He's good on the ball. He can also play as DM. I think one of the, you could argue. I think one of his greatest, his biggest problem is that he's a utility player. And at this age, being a utility player doesn't help your case because the manager will always come to you when he's short of personnel in certain positions because you're capable of fulfilling that role. He just puts you there. So again, I would argue the players at this age should focus on a particular position, master it. Then with time, you can also try out other positions that you're capable of playing at. I think that hasn't helped his case. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, and that's why with Chalobah, I think Chalobah probably noticed that, because he's a utility player, because he can play as a midfielder, and he was mostly used as a midfielder when he went out on loan. But with Ampadu, he's had an issue of he can play as a fullback as well, so that really gives him a problem when it comes on to probably making it into the team, because he has to find a way to convince the manager that he's not only a player you can just rely on in those moments where you don't have a player that probably a starter really. But I think with Ampadu, like I said, it's just down to the fact that every time he's gone out on loan, most of the time he hasn't really been impressive. And I mean, whether or not it's due to
Do
him.
you really blame him for those loans?
No, I don't. I don't. But I think at the end of the day, the what the manager is thinking is that he's gone out on loan. He hasn't really done good, and I mean we can't risk it. I really don't know if we should really judge players off on their loan spell per se, because we've seen players like Chalobah who most of the time when he had loans, he wasn't really impressive there, and it took him a while before he made it into the team. And and in a sense, until he had that loan to the French league, he wasn't really as impressive or making a statement for himself until then. So I
Mm-hmm.
think because of the loans that he's been forced to go on, it's a case where he has to be operating with these players who are either poor defensively as well. Because I remember Sheffield United, they got relegated, and I mean that the season before that they were in ninth place. So I think with them losing the players that they did as well, they at the time it made sense to really you know let him go on loan there because they look like they were going up the table. But then in that same window, the reason why they really went for him was because they lost some of their defenders, the defenders that actually supported the team, and then the defenders that they had left were players that were still learning their trade in the team and understanding the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with Ampadu and especially with his performances, I think too could probably be looking at his performances for country and say maybe I should really look into this player, look deeply into how he plays, and just not have like considerations. And I think that's why even though fans want us to get these most of our signings or new signings before preseason, I think in with certain players we may wait to see how certain youth players perform in preseason before making a decision to say that should we be spending millions in the window when we have this player who could probably save us that and maybe allow us to probably spend in a different position. So I think with Ampadu, if he's able to convince Tuchel that what, give me an opportunity and I can prove to you what I can do. But I mean, the loans really don't really help the players' cases because I can remember when he was on the Sarri, he was kept. And, I think he was part of the Europa League winning team. So I think, and that's when he used to have the longer hair. So I think with that, I think when you go on loan, it really sets you back. And I mean, and we've seen that with Billy Gilmore and players like that, where they look so good, and then as soon as they go on loan, it really
Mm-hmm.
sends them back because they have to be playing in a new environment, and most of the time those players aren't really reliable, and then they have that pressure being placed on them, especially if they're a defender. So it's unfortunate, but I just think that if he makes a statement for himself in the preseason, maybe Tuchel will probably say that what, let me see what he can do before I make a decision, because I think the silver understudy role is important, and I think he can probably be looked at as the long term replacement for Silver, without us having to really spend a lot of millions in the window or in the market rather.
Yeah, yeah. And with that, I want to ask you, please, if you haven't, please, no matter where you're watching from, please just like the video. Let us reach 100 likes by the end of the show. At least, yeah, I know I can't see how many likes we'll have right now because my screen is frozen. But that's by the way. Again, please keep liking the video. The more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the more people we can reach, and the more people we have here, the more fun the show will be. So if you haven't, just take a second to like the video. We have 86 people watching, and at one point we had around 110 people watching. Now we have 50 likes. I know we can do better than that. Keep liking the video. Show that you're happy that our club, yes, we've overcome one of the darkest moments in our history, and I believe we're out of it and we're stronger and even better. Tabago, would you mind? Let me go to Nick and come back to you because he's the senior here. Is that okay? Yeah, so okay, Nick, coming to you. How are you doing?
Yeah, long time to be on your panel.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Again, we haven't met, but we will met. My brother. I love you. I have nothing against you, but we just need to talk for
And
certain reasons. But that's by the
you
way.
know, I don't. You should know I respect you.
Yeah, yeah,
No
I do,
problem.
I do, and I respect you in return. Nick, your turn. I know you like Ampadu.
Yeah,
Again, what is going on? Why? Because he has just 2 years left on his contract, I think. But so
yeah,
it when
yeah,
it's and by I think he's in a
yeah.
very good
With
negotiation
Ampadu,
position right now. What do
yeah.
you think will happen with him?
No, let me adjust this. I think I know what it is.
Mhm.
Can you hear me now? Or should I go out?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you crystal
Yeah,
clear.
Ampadu. You know, he's a great young player. Don't forget, he's still young, very young, 21.
Very.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm sure Tuchel has been watching him. You know, and I'm sure he's admiring the way he plays. You can see the way he played with Wales the other day against Ukraine. For his age, you know, he shows so much maturity. You know, he's going to be. I can see him being a Chelsea player. I see him coming pre-season. He will get his chance, like all the others, like Gallagher and the rest of them, Gilmour. They're going to have pre-season and they're going to have the chance to show impress Tuchel. And you know, I have a good feeling for Ampadu. Always did. He was always a great player, young player, but we kept sending him on loan all the time. And a lot of Chelsea fans don't even know him properly. They don't know him. They've never watched him enough. Every time he plays for Wales, I watch him. And when he's on loan, I don't watch many German games, but I've seen enough when he plays for Wales to tell me he's a Chelsea player. You know, he will be part of this first team one day, and I think it's going to be very soon. Could be next season. There's no reason why not to be. He can play. You know, he can play at the back. He can play in midfield. And we need that sort of player in the squad. You know,
Are you concerned that we're going to lose him, Nick?
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I just hope Tuchel sees what me and you see, you know, and a few other fans. But I'm sure Tuchel is silly enough to not give this kid a chance. He has to get a chance. You know, bring him in, give him a few games and see what he's made of. We can't just rely on the players who we're going to buy, you know, bring this one, bring that one. I know we will get players in. 3 to 4 players will come this time. I keep saying. I'll be saying.
Let me ask you this, Nick. Can you still hear me?
Nah.
Can you still hear me?
On the way out. Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want to ask you, Nick. Now, he's going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So clearly, we have a problem convincing him to stay and be a big part player. And if the rumors are true, but we'll talk about that later. And I'm going to ask you a question. I know what you think about the player I'm going to ask you about. Now, do you think he'll be content?
Yeah, go.
As a Wales international, he's Wales, right? That's where his country.
He's Wales. Yeah, he's Welsh.
Now, do you think in a World Cup year he'd be content with just playing, like being you could argue bit part player, because we haven't seen any sign that Thomas Tuchel likes him. It's not like Conor Gallagher. You could say Thomas Tuchel has talked about on occasions. It remains to be seen whether he sees what we've seen, or whether he'd give him a chance, given that he knows he has the talent. Do you think he'd be content with just a few games throughout the season and say, okay, he's going to stay with the club? Or do you think he will live on loan, or do you think the club will sell him?
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, there's other people, you know, our scouts are not so good. But, you know, Tuchel's team, there'd be one of them for sure watching Ampadu. You know, any young player who's showing a good form, he's playing for his country, of course they're going to watch him. And they are watching them, and they let me go into Tuchel saying they're talking about Ampadu. And so I have no fear for that. His team is watching. If he's not Tuchel, he's got one of his team there. Could be the assistant, Tuchel's assistant, or the other one. He's got quite a few. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to give him the chance.
You're never worried?
I'm not worried because I know Chelsea inside out.
No, Nick,
you know, and I think, go on, Tobago.
I'm actually worried about Ampadu. Look, if we are not going to give him a chance next season, we might lose him, as Coach said.
Oh yes,
it's a World Cup year, and then every scout will be looking at every team. I mean, will be looking at potential players. So if he plays well in the World Cup, and then other teams are coming for him, Would he leave? Yes,
Exactly.
because he never got enough chance at Chelsea. So also, I
That's what I
understand.
mean.
Like
That's why. Yeah, sorry to. That's why we have to give him a chance. Tuchel has to give him a chance because he will go somewhere else. And we you know, and after 5-6 years, we'll be going, oh, Ampadu, world class. Another one, like we say about Billy Gilmour, if we sell him what he might become, we don't want to keep making them mistakes, losing our young, great, you know, potentials because they are
let me ask
great.
you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Next summer, Billy Gilmore, Ampadu, Conor Gallagher. Who would you prefer out of three
But
players?
they're different positions. Oh, I like all three. I want all three to be in that squad if it was up to me. But Gallagher, yeah, Gallagher's number one, I think, and Gilmore is the same with Ampadu. They have the same, you know, great potential. You know, I love all three of them. You know, it's hard to answer that question, really.
Yes,
Gallagher,
and then again,
Gallagher, I can see making the first team, not just being in the squad.
And again,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Let me quickly,
okay.
You have anything to add to that? I want to quickly catch up on the chat and come
Yeah.
back because we have one more player to talk about. Now,
Okay,
let
no
me
problem.
see where I stopped. And we have just we have 54 likes. We're shooting for 100 likes by the end of the show. And again, you guys have done well. It's not easy. 54 likes isn't easy. So if you haven't, thank you for 54 likes, by the way. Please take a second to like the video to help us reach more people. It doesn't cost anything. It is free. Just a second. Just click. You're done with it. And if you haven't subscribed, do the same. Do subscribe to the channel to help us reach 3K subscribers as soon as possible. Right now, we're at 2,786. We're approaching 3,000. That milestone is not far-fetched. But that's by the way. So keep liking the video and also subscribing to the channel if you haven't. Says the fact Ampadu plays in a weak team does not mean he isn't impressive. I am supposed to, you know, am I supposed to believe people watch all their games? I don't think they do. I think there are some, again, I think they just, you know, because nobody considers, some of them don't even consider that a tree can make a forest. That's one of that is the phrases, you know, that makes common sense phrase. You know, Ampadu will not stand out if everybody around him sucks. It's that simple. Billy Gilmour can now stand out if everybody around him sucks. You get to stand out when at least you have good players around you who are able,
Are you sure?
know. Yeah, you cannot. It makes
Are you sure?
you stand out.
What about
You be
what Gallagher was
selfish.
doing at West Brom? What about that?
No, that's a different thing. At least they have good enough players. You
In the
see in his
midfield?
energy, you see in his industry, but
In the
you
midfield,
can't
they
really
do?
stand out when everybody around you sucks. You get my point now. At Norwich City, you'd see every now and then, you see games where Bill Gilmour plays, you know, you recognize, yes, he's such a talent. That's my argument. I get your point. You can still stand out, but you'd be selfish. You get my point now. If you're really playing with your team, yeah, you cannot stand. I don't know how else to argue, but I get you. Your question, actually, your counter question makes sense, Ty, and I like such things because it makes the other person explain themselves very well. Fairboy says, I have not said anything about the teams as weak or not. Okay, he's talking with Tribune. Again, Fairboy has a channel called Fair Chelsea Analysis. If you haven't, go check out his YouTube channel and make sure to subscribe.
I feel
Tribune says,
disappointed.
sorry?
I feel disappointed.
About what, brother? Go ahead.
About you know, I have never watched more than one of Fairboy's videos, but that's something for another time.
Yeah, I've watched his videos. Again, I think he's done quite well. Yeah, don't be disappointed. He understands. Again, big up Coachila. Had a low break today. Big up the panel. Big up to you to Deals CFC. Nice to see you, brother. I think you're the one that telling me your equipment will be arriving soon, and soon you'll be able to join the panel. I can't wait to have you on the panel too. Deal says, I think Colwill, Ampadu, Gallagher, and Broja will be getting watched in preseason by TT will make his decision who stays, who goes. Here's the thing: there's a chance most of them participating in the preseason with just a mere formality. I think in most cases he knows already who he wants to keep. We just have to be honest about it. The preseason is just a few games, and that isn't enough actually, really, for him to say, okay, I've seen enough of this player, I want to keep him. He already usually he knew about Chalobah before time, and then some factors helped. The fact that we weren't able to sign Juskunde helped Chalobah's case. He knows about Conor Gallagher already. He knows where he wants to try him. If he hasn't been following you and isn't really interested in you, he may well just have you participate during preseason just to fulfill all righteousness, if you want to phrase it that way. But that's, by the way, we'll see happens. Again, I think it takes some miracle for Billy Gilmour to remain at Chelsea next year, because he has just 1 year left on his contract. Ampadu still has 2 years, so there's a chance he stays. But what I don't see is him extending if you're going to send him out on loan again. I think it's been too many times. Again, these players also, they see all the things that are happening. We have, for instance, Isaac Brown's case. What a talent he was before he joined us. I'm not blaming the club for his case. Something went wrong somewhere. There are other cases also that these players do know about. So sending them alone 1, 2, 3, 4 times, again, they say, oh, well, I'm tired of this, if you ask me. Again, let me try and catch up with that. Could you see us rotating lots next season? Oh, yeah, quite a lot. Again, you can say we have a fewer games to play. We're not going to be playing in the Super Cup. We're not going to play in the World Club Cup, so that reduces the number of games. But there we'll have quite a lot still, a number of games to play. So rotation will be key, because without rotation, our players get burnt out. And Thomas Tuchel, I think, you could say, he's known to overplay players, because usually, even when he has two good players in a certain position, he usually has a preference. And the preferred player gets to play until they break an arm or a leg, or we'll start to see that they're mentally tired before he decides to play another player. That's how he operates. Why? I don't know. In my option, I think Gallagher and Broja stays. Colwill goes on loan, another loan, and Ampadu goes on loan. Ampadu, if he goes on another loan, believe me, he'd be leaving next chance he gets, and he probably won't extend to Everton with a Frank Lampard.
He said that.
Some of them have said that already, right?
Yeah, he said that. Levi Colwill says that he wants to fight. He wants to play at Chelsea. His long-term dream is to play at Chelsea. And if he doesn't get it, he's been disappointed, and he'd have to consider his future. Ampadu said the same thing, because he's been on 4 loans since. Yeah, that's 4 loans, because it's been 4 seasons since. Since then.
Yeah. And again, that's my argument. But now we have 57 likes. Keep liking the video. You guys are absolute legends, and we're 3 more subscribers away to reach 2,790, which means we need 13 more subscribers to get to 2,800. And in a few days, yes, I know we'd get to 30,000 subscribers. But by the way, again, says Frank Lampard wants Colwill and Gilmor at Everton. I think the Tribune says each club can only get 1 loan player from a particular club at the same time now. I think that's the case. So
you have to be a prominent, and then they loan him, like with Guhi and Gallagher.
I think if you ask me who will Frank Lampard likely be looking at, I think I'd say Gilmor. I think he needs that. He needs Gilmore in his midfield, and he trusts him. He knows what he's able to do. You never know. TT may try Ampadu, or maybe between the sticks deals. I know you're here. You're gonna start saying some stuff that's gonna crack me up. All the words. So that says, let's just say, when the players are around, you're lacking it. It's less likely for you to shine. Thank you. That's a better way to phrase it. Ty, do I agree? I think this is a better way to phrase it. It is a team of sports.
Yeah. I was just challenging you. I know what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like my response to you is that for you to stand out, you'd really have to be very selfish. That's just that. Deals, if he wants them on loan, he can only have one, not both. Yep, and I think his preference would most likely be Ampadu, and again, Billy Gilmour, and he will tap him up. He'll probably get him to sign for them since he has just 1 year left on his contract. Again, how can I join your panel? You'd have to send me a message via Twitter, and then I'll send you the link. Again, there's a risk in sharing the link to the panel here. Some people, will get the link, join the panel, and show, pornography, and then the channel gets into trouble. And also, with something else is going on that I don't know. I went on Green Talk's channel the other day. Just quickly, let me tell the story. And somebody out of the blue just says, F Chelsea perspective. I haven't met him. I haven't spoken with him. I didn't talk with him on the panel. I just don't know why he said that. So something else is going, but I could care less. Again, that's by the way. The reason why we didn't go well in Premier League, we didn't do well in Premier League because we didn't have a proper depth. Yep, we didn't have proper depth. Competition in the squad. We had numbers, but the numbers, the squad, wasn't balanced enough. We had we had starters and we had backups, and when the starters got injured, things went down south real quick. TT has a lot of work to do, and also I think let him consider changing the system to accommodate the players he has. If they don't leave, if they don't end up leaving, and if he's gonna buy players, please let him buy players, that can play in number 8 positions or number 10 positions, and not get wingers and then try to get them to play in the number 8 positions. It just doesn't make sense. TT in Italy, some say he's on holiday. I don't think that's the case. I don't know if it's on holiday. Let me know. Michael Muyeka says, any update for a player? Sorry?
Koulibaly,
any update? Do you have any update for him?
No, I'm saying that people are saying he's in Italy. So I'm saying, like those people who say that, he's in Italy, he's going to go down to Koulibaly.
Yeah, I think you make sense, Ty. He may well have gone to Italy to talk to Koulibaly, you don't know, or to talk to some players he wants to sign for us. Because one-on-one, one-on-one meetings are more powerful than phone calls.
Inter Milan, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. So there's a chance. Again, Lee, nice to see you here. Good evening, brother. I hope your things are well on your end. Lee, evening. Yep, just great to. He says, "Hey, True, how's you doing?" Again, let me come back to the panel. I think we have 2 Tobagos here. Okay, one dies, and I'll bring in the other one. I'm going to come back to the panel. The next player we want to talk about here is Levy Colwill. And Nick, let me start with you. What do you think? What does the future hold for this kid here? Because he's good.
Yeah, he's very good. Another one, we have to give a chance. He could be really useful, actually.
Mm-hmm.
To have him there, when Tuchel was actually, ready, or when he gets injured, he can play that position. I like him a lot. I watched him with Huddersfield. We all know how Huddersfield fans think about him. They're begging him to stay, or how to buy him. They're begging for this guy because he's so good. So I'm sure Tuchel knows that. Like I said before, they do know what's going on with the youngsters. Especially the good ones we have. So yeah, he will get a chance, I'm sure. Maybe. It could be another loan for him because he's so young. It could be I don't think it's a good idea to stay with Huddersfield in the Championship. If he's going to be alone, he has to go to a Premiership club. A decent club. Well, they're all decent right now. So yeah, it could go on loan because depends who we buy as well. Don't forget, we have to wait and see if we're going to buy, that particular position. I know we're going to sort out this defense. I know I've heard about that, and I'm still, Kunti will come, Koulibaly. I still think he will come. Some people have doubts, but I still think he's the player to replace Rudiger. And Cole will get his chance. If he needs another 1 year loan, it will only do good for him. He will get better. He will get better, and in the following season he'll be ready. he'd be ready
Can
to.
I ask you a question quickly, if you don't mind? The question I want to ask is this. I think it was a True Blue that raised that question, and it makes sense. The question he raised, why are we looking at Vadio if they're both the same age? Any tie?
Yeah.
They're both the same
Yes.
age bracket. And I think True Blue's argument was that...
Who?
Vadio.
No, he's 20.
He's 20, so Levi Colwill is
He's
older,
1 year.
right?
He's practically 1 year older than Colwill.
Colwill is still 19?
Yeah, he was born in 2003, so he's 19 still.
He's 19.
Okay, now, yeah. So my question for you is, Nick, why waste millions of dollars on Vadio? And look at Nick Blue, look at True Blue's argument.
That's
Colwill, he's played in the championship, which you could argue is more physical than the Bundesliga. Does the Bundesliga have more quality? Yes.
No.
But why are we even considering Vadio over keeping Levi Colwill?
Hardest league, in football is the championship. Very hard and physical. And Colwill is doing great. And Vadio is only rumors. Don't believe, all the rumors. I keep saying it. We're not going to go for that player. When we have Colwill there, it doesn't make sense to go and buy Vadio. True Blue, I don't know where True Blue got the information from. Maybe he knows something I don't. But for me, I don't think this Vadio is going to come. No. If the only reason I can think Chelsea might get him as well, because they want to because Cole was only 19 and they want to give him another 1 year long period at a Premiership club. That's the only reason we might, get that Vadio or someone else in that position. Mm-hmm. That's because he is young, 19, to straight, in the deep end. Maybe he needs one season. We did with Rhys James, don't forget, and Mason Mount, and Tomori. How we look at them players now, because they stayed on. They played in the championship, and all of them were the best players for their teams. All of them, and with Colwill. So I'm not. I'm sure one day he will be in Chelsea's first team. This guy.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Again, I'm going to come to you in a bit. I think his contract is until 2025. He's primarily left-footed, which is good, which means he can execute that Rudiger role quite well. But again, I watched that playoffs at Wembley, though. He did quite well, notwithstanding the own goal. If he wasn't there, the guy that scored would get a free chance. So he was there, and they tried to defend it, and then made the mistake.
Another like Ampadu, what maturity this guy, a 19-year-old. Like Ampadu, the same. These guys, they're going to be future superstars. Well, we have to look after them.
Yeah. And before that playoffs, I think we talked about it on the panel here. I was concerned if they don't make it, if they don't win that game, and make it to the Premier League, it was going to be difficult to keep him. Yeah. You remember that day, right? But if they win, it'd be easy to tell him, because that rush will still be in his brain, everything. He'll still be happy. The bond will still be there. It would be easy to ask him, okay, play one more season with them in the Premier League. But now it's difficult. We're not sure what Thomas Tuchel is going to do. Maybe we're not really
But again,
all right, Huddersfield won't want him to go. They're going to want him again, but it's better to go. He has to go in the Premiership for me.
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
we'll see who wants him. Go ahead.
He's a future left wing back. He will replace Chilwell one day. Mark my words. Yeah.
Let me quickly catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to Ty to tell me what he thinks about Levi Colwill. I go to my brother from the Madrid land, Tobago. Says a recovery from watching pen dry England versus Italy. What was the outcome again? I don't know. Yes.
0-0.
Even Lee says it 7 year. I think they're really annoyed. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you guys. Jump. Oh my goodness! Isn't Vale's contract expiring soon? Again, need to extend as soon as possible. Is he talking about Levy Colwill? If he's talking about, I don't know, is he talking about Harvey
Vale?
That's what those kids, that's what they've learned to do. They set up themselves, yeah, especially the good ones. The good ones set up themselves to be able to live on a free. For Levy Colwill, his contract expires in 2025. If Harvey Vale's contract is expiring, and then it doesn't look like Thomas Tuchel trusts him that much, so I wouldn't.
No, we offered him a contract, and we're still trying to offer him a contract. It's just that with the sanction, you weren't able to do it. So we extended another one. What's his name? Javier Simmons, I think. Xavier, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Xavier Simmons, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So we're extending those players. So don't be surprised if you hear that we've offered him one and he probably extends. It's not that Tuchel doesn't trust him. He would love to have him there because remember he played him. Remember, Vale was the one that played more than Lewis Hall and Simmons and Webster because he brought him on and played him as a right back. I don't remember what game it was, but we switched to a 4 and he was playing as a right back or as a right wing back, and Pulisic was playing as a right back. I don't know. We were experimenting, and we were losing at that moment. And I think we scored after that.
Yeah. Before I come back to you to talk about Levy Colwill, I'm going to catch up with the chat. And right now we have how many? We have 62 likes. Let's shoot for 100 likes before the show ends. Again, if you haven't liked the video, please take a second to like the video to help us reach more people. Vadio has so much experience and better experience, plus can play left back. Again, maybe that's the difference, but I still prefer us bringing back Colwill. Again, I would send a young defender to Lampard.
Yeah, because he doesn't know, he doesn't have a defensive bone in his body.
Oh my, that's hilarious. I think he's being sarcastic here because
no, you can't do that, man, because he doesn't have a defensive bone in his body. Why do you think the defense we broke records for the wrong reasons? Conceding 64 goals? That is madness.
Says if you could choose one Premier League club for Cho to join, who do you think would be the best? I'd say Crystal Palace. I think he'd do well there. I think of Vieira, right? Would take good care of him on loan. Yeah, I understand. Rumors are RB want Vadio close to 70 million for him. Whew. We'll see if we're that serious about him. If we pay 17 million for him, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Koulibaly is 30 plus, so there's still a chance we get Vadio or Bastoni. We need a balance. We need balance. That's just the truth. And again, I get your point. Even though Bastoni has come out and said in public that he's happy at Inter Milan, again, that's just a statement. Show the club the money and the player the money, everything changes.
Koulibaly's what?
Sorry?
Koulibaly's what? 30 plus.
30.
30 plus.
No, I wouldn't say 30 plus. He's 30, probably get into 31. Yeah. Due to Thiago and Koulibaly will play as CCV centre back. Sometimes so Colwill can be left wing back, can cover. I think that's a good argument. Harvey Vale, I think Ty did say that Vale and Hall and Webster need a championship loans, nowhere near ready. I'm not arguing for those to be integrated into the team. They need to go out on loan. Xavier Simons, yeah. Back to you, Ty. Your thoughts on Levy Colwill. What do you think? Are you concerned, or do you think he gets a chance?
It's a difficult one. I think right now, I think it's down to what happens with Koulibaly, because I think Koulibaly will probably come in to play two roles, a left centre back and probably as a centre back. What I would probably say is that Koulibaly probably is looked at. The objective is to get him in assess Colwill in preseason, see if he could actually work with Koulibaly, see what could happen there. And then maybe he probably stays, and then you don't only have one player in Silva, but you have two players who are trying to help him, become a stronger player, because that's something that Silva likes to do, and he always hear players say that. And I know with Koulibaly as well, Koulibaly he tends to be an experienced player at Napoli. He's one of the older players in the defense with Napoli, and he sometimes he'll push the players as well, literally and figuratively to defend. So I mean, it's a case where, if he comes in, he probably give him some tough love, to try to help him improve. So I think with Colwill, I think he could get a chance. And I mean, you mentioned the playoff game. I think that really made a statement. He made a statement for himself in that game, because he showed great value. He showed how strong he is mental wise. And I mean, unlike those players who, when they make a mistake, their heads drop, and they look as if they give up, and they're like, no, I'm not going to have a good performance in this game anymore. Unlike him, he scored an own goal, unfortunate, and then the second half starts. He was aggressive. He was doing well. He was defending well. He was making tackles. He was blocking shot. He was deflecting. Everything that he was doing was just indicating to a player that needs to be assessed properly and not just be looked at. And I mean, you mentioned about Tuchel having favorites, and when you have favorites, it's not really good, because that means that you don't really give the other players who you don't really notice as much a fair chance. And I mean, we really have to. I would love to see Koulibaly come in, but I think if it becomes too impossible, or if it doesn't become easy to get him, I think probably Colwill could make it into the team next season. He's still pretty young, so I don't really think he's probably going to be playing at every game. But I think he could get a couple minutes, and I mean, it always goes back to us having 5 subs. And and it also depends on the demands of the game. You could play in cup games. You could play in those games where you probably need to rest players, and you can probably play him in the Champions League. It all comes down to things like that. So he won't be short of game time if he stays. I mean, you mentioned about the fact that we won't be playing as much games as we did last season, because we won't be in the Super Cup and the Club World Cup and things like that. But we'll be able to give game time to whatever youngster is probably brought into the team. So I think it's based on being patient. And I mean, that's the thing with these players, and I don't really want to take a dig at Lampard in this way, but I think with the way he just kept introducing more and more players, it really gave them a lot of hope. And I mean, sometimes some of those players that were brought in, they weren't really impressive in that sense, where you say, what, they could compete with, for example, your Reece James, maybe your Chilwells. But I mean, at the same time, you don't know that until you play them. But with Colwill, he's versatile, and I feel like Tuchel's probably trying to go in that way, try to get versatile players in, because people say that he want to stick with a back 3, but you never know. He could want to be versatile with his formations, and when you get those versatile players in, you can switch it in game quickly, because you have these players who can play as a right back. They can form a 3 at the back if necessary. And we could form a team that can sit with great defensive strength. So I think when it comes on to Colwill, I think it's down to how he does in preseason. It's down to if we get Koulibaly, and if the plan remains the same about try to get as much experienced players in as possible to help mold these players. Because people who say that players don't really come in to help. But that's the case where they don't have leaders at their teams. And people use the top teams, for example, but they don't really have those leaders. Really, they just have players who have the experience and they lead by example. They don't really help players to become better per se. But I mean, with Silva has been in the game for so long. He's played with Ronaldinho and players like that, so he knows the fighting spirit, the winning attitude that you need to be a top player. And I mean, he has the aspirations of winning the league. So, that in itself, means that you're going to try to help as much players as possible who are young, to help him achieve what he wants to achieve. And, help the team because he's the way he's behaving right now is somebody who wants to just want to see the club do well. And I mean that's the type of personality that you need in a team, and leaders like that is that's what really attract other players because they know that they have somebody who will support them, especially if they're not doing quite well.
Yeah, thank you very much for that great input. I'm going to quickly try to catch up with what we have in the chat, and I'll come back to the panel, to ask them, the question, the next question, which is, I think, the final question, and then we'll round up for the day. And I'm going to share the link to Tide Talks YouTube channel. Please, if you're in the panel or wherever you're watching from, you be sure go check out his YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't, and let him know I sent you. So I'm going to say here, link to Tide Talks, to Tide's YouTube channel. Again, I can't spell, and I'm glad Josh Viola isn't here. Link to Tide's YouTube channel. So please be sure to go check out his channel and subscribe and let him know I sent you. I'd really love to see that. Thank you very much again. You can see it in the chat. That's Tide Talks YouTube channel link. Now, coming back to the panel, again, I want to say, if you haven't, thank you for 66 likes, by the way. Let's shoot for 100 likes. We'll have a few minutes to round up the show. But if we can get to 100 likes, that will go a long way. So please take a second to like the video if you haven't. I really appreciate that. Let me see. Again, yeah, Nick, you actually sending that in the private chat. I understand you tried to send it in the chat proper.
Yeah, I thought that,
It happens. Yeah, I've done that on occasion myself. I truly say I'm not joking. Lampard and would rather send a Billy to Palace. I expect J5 and Kante to both be gone. J5 now, Kante next year. I think, yeah, there's a chance that happens. Send Cho to Everton. Lampard, he likes wingers. That's the truth. Gallagher isn't going to the World Cup. Believe me. We'll see. But if you ask him, he had the whole...
sad. That is so sad.
Yeah. Why? Do you think the same too?
No, I'm saying that is sad that he thinks that.
Yeah, but again, if you ask Gallagher himself, I believe he think that he plays enough game for Chelsea, he'd get the chance to go to the World Cup. It's as simple as that. But we'll see. Lampard didn't really utilize. So, surprisingly, he didn't really utilize him. He was going about talking how he wants him to come back fitter than ever because he's going to be doing a whole lot of running for him. I don't know how well he did under him. Haaland coming to Man City, Liverpool getting Nunes, Conte and Tottenham. Chelsea needed to get the right players at this transfer window, or else, again, Chinedu, come down. We'll see what happens. At least I think Billy renews his contract. That is if you guarantee him a place in the team. I'm not saying starting place, at least a place in the team. At least he's going to get a sizable amount of games. I think he stays. But if that's not the case, I'd argue that he's going to leave. Again, that's me. But we'll see what happens. I hope he stays because I love him so much. I think Gilmour should return to learn from people like Kante. Get rid of Drinkwater. Drinkwater is gone already. I love to speak. I say confidence. Drinkwater is gone already. And by the way, confidence. It can be my nicest to you here. One mother. I appreciate you finding time to support a brother. That will go a long way. Protestant says might be worth a trying 60 million plus Barkley for Rice. I think they may well take Barkley if you ask me, but we don't know what happens. Billy would want to prove himself, not run. Do you think so? Now that he has a good relationship with Frank Lampard, what if he taps him up and say, "Come, you get to start games," but you never know. We'll see what happens. Again, Protestant. It's worth a try, but I think West Ham United will ask for either Conor or Broja. Yep, and not Barkley. Barkley to them doesn't have a value. England midfield already packed. Okay, we'll see. You never know what happens from now to World Cup. So he might be ready, trying to say, okay, he's going to be ready in case he gets called upon. But that's, by the way, I'm going to come back to the panel. I'll start with you, Tobago. I know True Blue in the chat has explained how we can accommodate that player, but the question I want to ask specifically, we're calling for Thomas Tuchel, the club, to bring back these players. Excuse me, sorry, and integrate them into the team. Oh my gosh, what the heck happened? Now the question is, how do we make space for them? Because we can't keep everybody, even those that were already in the team, to bring in players. We have to make way. We have to let some players go. But the question is to accommodate the youth specifically, not the big players. How do we make room for these young players? I'll start with you, Tobago. You let me know what you think. Tobago, are you there? It doesn't look like he's there. So, Nick, let me come to you. Let me know, how do we make space to accommodate these young players? Because, we've agreed we have to let players go to accommodate the new players. And it's specifically true in terms of that for the young players, for them to even get the chance to play games here and there. Sorry?
Yeah, I think Tobacco is back. Yeah,
Tobacco, you're back. Yeah, how do we? Yeah, okay. Then I'll come to Nick. I think I'll let Nick round up for us. How do we make space to accommodate them?
It's so difficult to make a space for them, but if it's possible, every season, just to add two of our youth players, that would be good. But making space for them is not that easy. Remember, the coaches are under pressure. They need players that are already drilled, that will already have a winning mentality, so that they can produce whatever their plan is, and also they don't want to be sacked. So, for example, if you bring plenty of youth players and then you end up out of top 4 and stuff, you don't win anything, you end up being sacked. It's like Jose Mourinho used to do. He didn't believe a lot on young players the time he was at Chelsea, because like Roman Abramovich wanted results. But anyway, this the new owners. So, but again, it's so difficult. I don't know the solution, but if you can bring 2 at least in a season, that would be great.
Yeah, again, I'd like it during the introduction of the show. I did say it again. It's easy to say bring them back. The most difficult part is to be able to make space to accommodate them in the sense for them to be in a place where they get a chance to play enough game that they'd be content with. But that's why I knew it wasn't going to be. There wasn't never an easy answer for this. Again, I want to ask, if you're in the chat, please keep liking the video. We're 71. Let's see. We have a few minutes to round up, but let's see if we're able to at least reach 100 subscribers by the end of the show. It doesn't take too much to like the video. Just a few seconds like this, you're done liking the video. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. We're 1 subscriber away to get to 2,790, which is 11 off 3,000 subscribers. I know we'll get there 111, so to speak, to get there as soon as possible. Now, coming back to the panel, let me see if there's anything to address first. Mikhail says, big up Blues. Any domestic transfers for the Blues that need EPL approval over foreign players? I don't have an answer to that, Christian. Seems English premium only applies to Chelsea FC. Club scouts from overseas too, and are mostly successful. That's just the truth. They're getting a lot of good players.
That he wants, they're not the ones that he gets.
Exactly. Sorry, what did you say, Ty?
The players that Klopp is, most of the players that Klopp scouts are not the players that he ends up getting. Let's not forget, he never wanted Mane and Salah. The sporting director that is leaving now is the reason why they got them in, not because of Klopp.
So the one that looked at it and said, these are the players I think fits in the way you play. So with that, please keep liking the video. As we're approaching the end of the show, let's try and see if we can get to 100 likes. Again, bless you. Thank you very much. Even those on the panel with me didn't say bless you. Mikhail in the chat had to say bless you. I'm going to revenge you guys, you, Tobago, Nick, in tight talks. Didn't even say bless you as I was sneezing. But that's, by the way, you realize how our transfer goes on for months, but City and Liverpool gets the deal done quick. Why can't we just be patient? These guys just took over the club. You can say, I'd be right to say a few days ago, and we were under restrictions. We were not allowed to finalize signings. We can talk with them, come to an agreement, but they cannot put pen to paper. That alone is a big, it doesn't help that case. And Thomas Tuchel did say it openly, the restrictions doesn't help matter. But here's the thing I can promise you. I believe they're doing quite a lot behind the scenes, and that's how Chelsea operates. And I'm going to try to repeat myself again. The case of Jules Koundé and Ousmane Dembele, the cases are different because there are factors, that surround our pursuit of the two players that were able to put two and two together and come to terms, yes, they may well join us. So we don't know what they're doing behind the scene. And Peter Cech has said openly, it's going to be a busy summer for us. And I trust them. So just calm down. Everything will be fine. Vivi, why would you go Everton on a permanent deal when Lampard will be gone? That's seriously sinister. Look, and Billy progress his career at Rangers working with Vieira. Again, it's easier than you think. Clear the players that are not in the 3-year plan for Tuchel. Only 3 buys this year, 2 defenders, 1 midfielder. It sounds easy, but we'll Tuchel approach it that way, I'd say no. Questions, do you want to build long-term? If yes, expect no trophies. That's the truth. It's as simple as that. If you really want to build long-term, you have to a lot of changes will follow, and you have to get younger players mostly. So then again, you don't expect trophies. Even up to 5-6 changes. If you win anything next season, I'd be surprised. But that's, by the way, I'm gonna come back to the panel. Let me ask you this, Ty, before I go to Nick to round up the show for us. How are we gonna make space to accommodate not all of them, at least 2 of them?
That's a difficult one. I mean, the only 2 that I think would probably be the. This is difficult. With Gallagher, I think Gallagher is one that Tuchel really wants to find some way of having him in the team. I think, even though I think Ziyech could still offer something to the team, but I just feel like he's not the strongest in the system we play. I think that maybe if he gets a move to somewhere where he can actually express himself the way that he likes to express himself, maybe that frees up a slot, and then that allows him to be able to play on the right. Because I think Tuchel may consider trying to see what would happen with Mason Mount and Gallagher on the pitch at the same time. And I think in a case like that, it's important that you have a slot where Gallagher can still get some game time. And I mean, if you get players like a Dembele, if you want to target other players as well on like a Rafinha or something like that, you're going to need to find some solution for it. Because I think, in a sense, it would be important to get at least 2 of the current attackers out that play as the wide players. Probably, I don't know, Werner is being linked to everybody. Ziyech linked to everybody. Pulisic is being looked at. If he wants to leave, they allow him to leave. So I think if these players are able to go up the door, although I don't really know about selling all of them, because we need to at least have some players who can still be in the team as squad players to make up some quality, especially like a Ziyech who could actually do something if we use a formation that allows him to be wide. So I think, if you get certain players that really don't offer much to the team, it frees up a slot for Gallagher. And for me, I think probably the next option that maybe I think with Colwill, I think it's I don't really think there's any issue right. I don't really think there's anybody in his way for him to start. If they get Koulibaly, I think it's probably to help him with a learning curve. I think it's a case where, because I think I'm not really convinced about what's going to happen with him. So I think Sarr isn't really a challenge for Colwill. So I think in itself is not really a challenge for him, because there's not really much people on the left side that can really challenge him. And I really don't know about Ampadu. I think that Ampadu should get an opportunity in the team, but I just don't know about if Tuchel will be able to look past the fact that his performances, although he has been in a team that has been so poor. I don't know if he'll be willing, to look past the fact that he has been in these teams, and even though it's not on him alone, he doesn't appear to really to be that deciding factor. And I know he's young, and I think maybe that's too harsh to put on a young player, but he does try a lot. And I think, in that case, I think it'd probably be important to look at him as a long-term replacement for Silva as well. And I mean, even if Koulibaly comes into play as a left centre back and as a centre back, you still need to plan for the future. So I think if Ampadu does well in pre-season, I think if he makes a name for himself, we could end up seeing him stay. And then after that long term, we could see him remain in the team. But I don't know. I really don't know about Billy Gilmore. It's unfortunate, because I think, if he never went on loan, maybe the midfield situation probably would have been different. The demand would be different. We wouldn't be overplaying players. But I don't know, because I think he's just sent. His progression has been sent backwards, because now he has to work his way back into the team, where when Tuchel had some interest in him remaining at the club. So I really don't know. It's a tough one with Gilmore.
Yeah. Here's Triblu here explaining it to Vivi why we've not been that active in the market. And Lee says you're still talking about get the deadwood out and then bring a new signings rather than getting rid of the deadwood and playing the younger players we're talking about. Here's the thing. Getting the deadwood out will not make the space for the younger players. It will not guarantee them getting enough game time. But that's, by the way, I was saying, if Ziyech and Pulisic leave and Dembele and Sterling come, what happens to your two starter policy again? You answered that question yourself. Nick, coming to you, your thoughts, how do you think, what would be the best way to make space to be sure that these to make sure that these two these kids are accommodated and there's space for them to get enough game time. And by the way, Triblu, that's a delicious question. And I'm not going to try to answer it, because if I try, I can't. I said I don't know, really. You answer
I don't want Sterling. I don't want Sterling.
I don't want Sterling.
So Nick, go ahead. Tell me how you think we'd make space for this, guys. And there's something I need to take care of. So I'll be back in a minute. Then we end the show.
Yeah. So, look. First of all, there's not that many, young players that have a chance to make the first team. We're looking at Gallagher, Gilmor, Ampadu, Colwill. So 4 players, really. These 4 players, there should be room for them to have a chance. In the squad, we can put all 4 of them in the squad, really. Don't forget, it looks like Werner, Pulisic, and Ziyech could be going. That's what I heard. It's very likely they're going to go, these 3 players. And we're going to get money for them to get, them. We're going to get them Belly. We're going to get probably 3 defenders, maybe 1 midfielder, 3 or 4 players we're going to buy. So there is room for them in the squad, and that's what I can see, and I'm sure Tuchel sees that, he knows these players are good. So we don't have to go crazy and buy. It doesn't mean when you buy a top player, we've seen it before. How many players, Barata, Lukaku, Torres, we bought big players because Abramovich, liked the players. Now it's different. Boehly's here, and I'm sure he's looking at everything, and he will have his advisors as well. And Marina could be on the way out as well, very soon, I heard. And then Boehly will bring his people in. So it's a lot of things going to change at Chelsea, and these young players we have, they have to be in the squad, not one or two or four. We have room for the squad. So the squad is 25 players, so there should be room for them. It depends on who we buy, of course, but when you have Ziyech likely to go, I hope he doesn't go, but it looks like he's going. I'm afraid, because he's a great player. But a lot of us don't want him to go. But he's going with Werner and Pulisic. That's what I heard. It's very likely now. So there is room for the coach. There is room for these four great youngsters we have to be in the squad.
Let me catch up with the chat. I'll come back to you, Nick, while I'm still with you. I think I have another question for you that I'm going to ask the other two panelists too. Says we don't need, Lee says we don't need, every time I try to call him, but he's corrected me. He's told me how to pronounce his name correctly. We don't need to sell Werner, Ziyech, and Pulisic. Here's the thing. We don't need to sell them, but have the manager, he hasn't deployed them in their preferred positions, and always he seemed to be stubborn about it. So the question I'm going to ask you, Lee, we don't need to sell them, but would they want to stay? That's a question you need to ask sincerely. I think the club may well force them to stay for selfish reasons, because we just want to have a large squad, but we're not going to be willing to actually to adjust anything to accommodate them, to play them on the flanks where most of them like to play. And I think I just saw a tweet about Ty say until what does that tweet say again? Until Ziyech is played where he hogs the light or something like that, you're not going to get the best out of him or something similar. But my point is, he's refused to play them in their preferred positions, and they've complained directly or indirectly. Yes, we've seen flashes of brilliance from each of them, but they've never been consistent. And you could argue partly because they've always been played out of position. Again, that's by the way. So the question remains, yeah, we don't have to sell them, but would they want to stay and continue like that? It remains to be seen. Again, there's an argument for why each of them would want to leave. Again, a simple 4-3-3, Tobago doesn't matter. If you want Sterling, the point is, again, the same thing will keep happening.
I don't want Sterling. Please.
Yeah.
He missed
I want my Jamaican brother at the club. I'm sorry.
Tobago here. If we do get Sterling, mark my words, he
No.
won't come good. Yeah, I'm just saying, Tobago. I'm not saying.
I don't even think it's coming. I don't think it's coming. So let's not waste our time talking about him. Yeah, that's the thing.
No, please.
Okay, that's by the way. Now, the comment again, let me see anything that says, Lee says Ziyech and Pulisic had a lot time out due to injuries. Yeah, but tell me, how would you argue of recent towards the end of the season when Ziyech was in brilliant form? Just 1 second, guys. My boys don't listen.
That is the point. Because the thing is, both of them are different. There's a contrast between Pulisic and Ziyech. Pulisic at the last moments of the season, he was pretty poor. He was missing chances against Leicester. He missed a chance against Wolves. And I mean, it was all over the place with him. With Ziyech was working so beautifully with James against this. Yep. I remember that. And he was working
with the form for us.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is why, for me, I'm saying that I would not like to see Ziyech leave. But I like you were just saying, we don't really, well, not us. Tuchel doesn't really use these players in the right position, because he's using a formation where you need to have 10s or probably 8s, whichever you want to call it, where they have to come central in a sense, left center, right center, and be in a central position. With Ziyech just likes to be wide, cutting in, try to cross the ball onto his left foot. So it's difficult when it comes on to that, and that is why, it's not because Ziyech is not a good player we should look to sell him. If it's a case where we're realizing that Tuchel isn't willing to at least tweak something to at least accommodate some of these wide players that he has, although he inherited them, and it's kind of unfortunate that he has to work with what he has. But at the same time, it shows how as a coach how strong he would be if he's able to get the best out of them. And I mean, this is why, you know, under Lampard, Ziyech worked so beautifully, because we were playing a 4-3-3, and that allows you to be wide, and then it has the potential of becoming a 4-2-3-1, a 4-2-2-2. So I mean, in a sense, it's something that allows these players to express themselves. So I think, you know, with Ziyech, it's a difficult one, because it's not a case where he's not in form and he's like a player we should get out because he's just stinking up the place, because he started off the season well and he ended the season off well. So I think in that case, it's not really a case where you can say Sterling because he's not doing good, because he started off the season well and he ended it well. So with Pulisic is the 50-50 part of it. So I think, you know, with Ziyech, I'm fine with Ziyech staying, because I think that, you know, if we use the system that we use against Spurs, the system that we were using when we didn't really have the players to really play a back three, or maybe we would be able to get the best out of him, because we've seen what happens when you play a formation that allows him to express himself the way he wants to express himself. So I think it is also important that we get in the players that can allow Tuchel to be flexible with his systems. And if we don't do that, we may end up seeing a back three still being stick with, because we need to protect certain players, or we need to get the best out of the defense, and at least let those players who don't really have the defensive strength some coverage from a Silva or any experienced player that comes in.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up with the chat, and I'll ask the final question, and we'll call it a day. Right now we have 74 likes. Please keep liking the video. Keep liking the video, you guys. And thank you for 74 likes. That's not actually easy. So, but if you haven't liked the video, it's easy. And then again, if anybody asks you to pay, tell them my sister Chama had already paid for you. But just like the video, it just takes a second. And it's not that difficult. Let me catch up here. It says, switch to 4-3-3, then all the players can be happy and fans can stop criticizing players. Good luck, like you would tell others. And the same for Cho. The lad hasn't really recovered from COVID, hasn't really recovered from his injury. He was still waiting for him to recover fully from the injury. And then COVID hit him, and then it doesn't look like he's recovered from it. Triple said Ancelotti won't change it to accommodate Rudiger. He will play a system that suits the squad, not the player. You seem to be arguing against your argument here. But that's by the way. The CT improved players. Our front lines have really struggled a lot. It's hard to say. If it's improved anybody, it will be in the defensive department and the attacking department. No, it's really hard to say. Maybe he's gotten what's his name, Reece James, to be more adventurous in terms of taking up players and not just to take the easy way out backwards or sideways passes. It's hard to say again. I won't fight for him for that
50-50.
one.
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50. Yeah,
because James has improved. Yeah. We used to complain that he doesn't take on players enough, and that's what he's doing now. So there has been improvement there. If that's on him or if it's the coaching team.
Yeah, Pulisic just had the deep in form due to lack of game time, due to injuries. You could argue that if you are in and out, you lose sharpness. That's the truth. It's as simple as that. You lose match sharpness, match fitness, if you prefer. Again, lots of things where factors that did contribute to the poor performances we've seen this past season. Sometimes lack of chemistry that we should see between the players and there, because of quite a lot of rotation. Rotation is good because it helps to avoid player burnout, but at the same time, it doesn't help chemistry development among the players. We would regret it if we lose a Pulisic and Ziyech. They remind me of great players. With again, the case of Pulisic, you could talk about Arjen Robben, how he was injury prone when he was with us, but the moment he left us to Real Madrid, the rest is history. He became one of the best players in the world. Titi has not convinced me. There you go, controversial comment. Again, you have every right to say that. Again, for me, I'm convinced. It's just that he's not perfect. First visual, forget that KDP. He was a big girl's blast at Chelsea. Oh my gosh! Again, truly, this will be TT's season to show us he can play different systems. If he gets the players he wants and we don't have the injuries we had last season. Again, I've argued that before, say there's a chance he switched things up this coming season. But True Blue, he's always argued otherwise. But we'll see what happens. Again, some players need time. Look at Salah and all those. Again, why am I Real Madrid 4 at the back? Again, the norm is your comprehension needs a brushing up. That's really rude. Oh, that's mean if I want to, but I'm fine anyway. Again, you're fine too. Thank you. Again, I'm having fun reading your comments. Again, now, please, if you haven't, do like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Please, if you're enjoying the show, please do subscribe to the channel. Tell other people about the channel. Share the channel on social media platforms where you have presence. Talk about the channel. Talk about the Transfer Watch show. Talk about the Blue Money show. I really appreciate that. Coming to you, Nick. Let me start with you on this one. These are 4 players. It's not just them. I think I'm missing a player there because I couldn't find his photo on the photo platform that I use. It's Dujon Sterling?
Oh, yes.
Dujon Sterling. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. And
that's the only Sterling that I know Tobago probably be open to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I heard that Thomas Tuchel likes him. Now, let's just go straight to saying adding Dujon Sterling to that list. You know,
he is.
The chances that, if we're being truthful to ourselves, the 5 of them are not going to just stay with the squad. Just give me 2. Give me at least 2. You think will stay with the squad?
For sure, Gallagher is one. And don't forget, we have Broja as well still.
Yeah, exactly. Broja isn't in the picture, but I think Broja stays.
Yeah, I think let's hope he does stay.
I
mean, why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did you just say that? What if he does? You said something that I said last season. What? I said the Broja is gonna stay, and lo and behold, he didn't stay. So, oh God.
Yeah, that was a long though. I think now he will be involved. So
who do you think stays? Just speak from the 5 list I'm gonna give you. For Broja, I think Broja stays.
Yeah.
I'm gonna count Gilmore, Gallagher, Ampadu, and Levy Colwill. Give me 2 players there.
We have Gallagher. He's going to be in the plans.
Are you sure?
I think, for sure. I think
because remember the last time he was asked about Conor Gallagher, he was cautious with his answer. He says the plan is to look at everybody during preseason.
Yeah.
So
of course, he's going to look at everyone, but he knows what each player. He does. Tuchel knows what they have to offer already. For me, Gallagher. Billy Gilmour, I hope he's in the plans because he could leave us, go somewhere else.
Name two.
Yeah, just give me 2, Nick. I know you're a very optimistic person, but just give me 2.
So it's going to be Gilmour and Gallagher.
Gilmour and Gallagher, you think both of them will stay? Okay. I got you. I remember that's the 2 you gave me. Give me 2.
Thing I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead. So, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think Pulisic, like I said, I think he wants to go. It's not Chelsea want to sell him, but he wants to go because he's not getting enough game time. Same for Ziyech. The game time is not enough. These players want to play. And Werner is another one. So there are going to be 3 players going out. What I heard today, it's pretty very strong. So if these 3 players go, then we have more room. We are going to buy players, but we ain't going to buy 7 or 6 players. We're going to buy 3 or 4 the most, and that be mostly for the defense and a midfield player, and 1 attacker. When Lukaku will go eventually, he's going. And I think the guy coming in is Jesus as Tobago. Don't worry, it won't be Sterling. Chelsea are really looking at Jesus for the Lukaku replacement now, because Lewandowski is keen for Barcelona. Otherwise, it would have been by Lewandowski. What can we do? We have to take. Jesus is a great player for me. He can score, and he fits the Tuchel system better than Sterling for me. Yeah, and yeah, so that's what I think will happen. And well, we have to, because I'm optimistic, because we have, next season, what will happen? What I think will happen? We're going to challenge City. We won't win the league, but we're going to be close. We will be 4 points behind. Fight to the end. That's what Tuchel wants to do, and I trust he will do that. And we're going to win a FA Cup or a League Cup. We'll at least win one of them. Yeah, and go find the Champions League, I'm sure. So I'm very optimistic, because what I heard from Boehly, like we said it a million times, he said, I'm not here to compete, I'm here to win. And that's what we're going to do. And I didn't mention Liverpool, because we are better than Liverpool. I keep saying this. I had a big argument the other day on Twitter about Liverpool. Some Chelsea fans saying, no, Liverpool are better than. I said, no, they're not better. We played them 4 times. We didn't lose. And we lost the League Cup because of a VAR. And when the other league game at Anfield with 10 men, we should have won. We deserved to win. And the other game at home, we should have won that as well. We were better in those games. So I'm not scared of Liverpool. We will finish above Liverpool. I'm predicting that. Anyone wants to have a little bet on the side, I'm here. By the way, where's Phantom? I wanted to bet with him. He was saying that guarantee.
You see him in the morning.
Yeah, I want that bet, because he talks and he hides. Yeah. So bring Phantom.
Thank you for that great input, Nick. I sincerely do appreciate you taking time to say that. Lee says Conor and Billy are in the squad for next season.
Nope.
For next year already. Oh, are they? The other two. Okay, let me finish. The other two depend on how they work during preseason. We'll see. Okay, first issue, but I think Salah were sent on loan, expected to return, but Ross refused. Okay, Salah admitted himself being in Italy helped. We had Hazard, Willian, Oscar, Shola, Mata, etc., and willing to fight. Again, coming back to the panel, I'm going to go to the Bago, and then I'll come to you to tell us the 2 you think will make it, and then we'll round up. Tobago, tell us the 2 players you think will make it into the squad from this list.
Conor Gallagher and Ampadu.
You think we'll make it?
Yes.
All right, your turn. Have we lost you? Okay, and Lee says those 2 will be, trust me. For me, here's the 2 I think will make it. We already know, I think Broja will be part of the squad. But from the least people who talked about, I think Conor Gallagher definitely. And also, I think Levy Colwill stays. Again, that's me. But let's see what happens. John Arnold says, Tobago, is he speaking South African?
This guy always say the same thing. Who's this guy?
But maybe he knows you. Yeah, but that's not. By the way, with that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been part of the show, and I want to say please go check out Ty Talks YouTube channel. Again, great content, and his channel is really growing. He's past the 200 subscriber milestone. But if you haven't, please go and subscribe to the channel to help him grow. Again, I want to say thank you to my brother from the Madiba land, Tobago, my other brother, Nick Blue, for finding the time to join us on the panel here. It's not easy. And to everyone in the chat, from John Arnold for joining now, Lee for always joining. Lee, again, thank you very much for always supporting the channel. Thank you, Tribute, for always, supporting the channel and educating us on things I believe you know better than we do. And first of usual, thank you very much for joining. Everyone that's been in the channel, if I missed your name, please forgive me. I'm only human. And I can see you guys tomorrow for the Blue Morning Show or another Transfer Watch show. God bless us all, and bye.